Chapter 337. Why aren't you doing anything? Mama Sheng was beside herself. Even the rest of the Sheng family wouldn't accept Jing Yun as the Sheng family's son-in-law, let alone the old man. Just because Jing Yun has nothing? Sheng Xiao, that won't work. You and Mu Qiqi could get engaged because she's the Shun family's granddaughter, but Jing Yun. Mom, do you not like Jing Yun too? Sheng Xiao asked in return. Of course I like that child, since he's been by your side for so many years. But your grandfather? You don't have to worry about anything if you like him. Sheng Xiao promptly cut her short. Fourth sister had opened Jing Yun's heart after much difficulty, or that blockhead would have ended up with fourth sister long ago. Mama Sheng could only sigh at that. How much more do you children have to make me worry before it's enough? That was precisely why Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao believed that their mother would not tell the old man about it. How worrisome. If that's the case, tell Jing Yun to restrain himself and fourth sister. The old man might visit her company from time to time. If Jing Yun knew that Mama Sheng had found out about their relationship, his heart that had just been opened would instantly close again. Mu Qiqi couldn't help sighing when Sheng Xiao put down his phone. It's lucky that Mom found out first. The consequences would be unthinkable if it was Grandpa. Call fourth sister later and tell her about it in a roundabout way, so that she'll be careful of Jing Yun's emotions. Mu Qiqi nodded. Got it, Xiao Xiao. Still, this matter has to be resolved. Check his identity first. He had prepared for the worst, since he did not expect that Jing Yun might be related to the Su family. Still, since this matter could minimize the damage, he certainly had to do both at the same time. Of course, he would only consider that if Jing Yun was really a member of the Su family, and they really had the intention of finding their child. In the afternoon, Jing Yun received the background information on the Su family and handed it to Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao glanced at it and smiled in return. You haven't opened it yourself? No. Jing Yun calmly shook his head. Sheng Xiao opened the envelope and took out the results of the investigation, and found that the Su family was not a bunch of mediocre people. The person in charge of the Su family was one of the top medical equipment suppliers in the country. He had been engaged in the development of medical equipment for many years, and had made many contributions to the medical field. The Su couple had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Su Yihong was the eldest, Su Wei the second, and the youngest Su Yifeng, who had been missing for many years. Sheng Xiao flipped through the documents and looked at the photo of third brother left on the Su family tree. That was clearly how Jing Yun looked when he was young. Was there even a need to check? The Su family had only recently moved to Jianchuan to develop. Before this, they had been far away in the coastal cities. If the Su family had always been thousands of miles away, why would Jing Yun end up in Jianchuan? When he was done, he put all the documents on the table and asked, What do you think? I can tell you with certainty that you are a member of the Su family. I don't know. Jing Yun paused for a moment, feeling very lost. I believe that the Su couple must be looking for you. After all, they had searched the city they used to live in for years, but to no avail. I was abandoned. Jing Yun told Sheng Xiao about his dream. Recently, I've been having this dream a lot. In the dream, I'm being brought thousands of miles away by a man, and then abandoned. It's because that's the only way I can't go home. That's not hard to explain. Why the Su family couldn't find their own child despite having such a large family business. Perhaps someone deliberately gave them the wrong direction. If that's the case, we must first find out who that person is. With that, Sheng Xiao turned his office chair and studied Jing Yun from head to toe. I really didn't expect you to have such a background. Young master. Of course, acknowledging the Su family is another matter. We must first find the one who abandoned you and torture him. It was Jing Yun's choice to return to the Su family, and no one could interfere. Even so, it was time for the person who had tortured Jing Yun for years to pay the price. Sheng Xiao did not tell Mama Sheng about the Su family, because they didn't know what had happened to them. That was why Mama Sheng was worried. When she returned to the Sheng family at night, she was inevitably questioned by the old man. What happened when you went to see fourth sister today? I didn't get to see her today, but I've told her secretary that I wanted to meet her. Mama Sheng could still imagine the 2 young people's intimacy. Hurry. I know. Mama Sheng replied. Fourth sister never cared about the Sheng family in the past, let alone now that she was living with Jing Yun. There was really no telling what clever move Sheng Xiao could come up with. Sheng Xiao wanted to investigate Jing Yun's abandonment all those years ago, but he didn't know how many other people were involved. Doing his best not to alarm the Su family, Sheng Xiao learned the reason behind the disappearance of the third son of the Su family. That year, Su Holdings had just experienced internal strife, with Papa Su and Jing Yun's eldest uncle fighting for control of Su Holdings. At the time, the eldest uncle of the Su family even made a move on the children of the Su family to threaten Papa Su. To protect the children, Papa Su had his wife take the 3 children into hiding. Su Yihong had fled to the Su family's mansion on the island, leaving the 3 to return to the mansion the next day. But when Mama Su took a plane the next day, she found that her son who had been following her was gone, and the Su couple had searched for him for 10 years. Even so, there was no news of their youngest son. Come to think of it, the one who lost Jing Yun was his mother. Mu Qiqi leaned on Sheng Xiao and finished reading the information. But that clearly doesn't make sense. Jing Yun said that someone had deliberately left him 1,000 miles away. Think about it. There are only a few possibilities at the time. First, the eldest uncle of the Su family abducted Papa Su's son, so that he would lose his beloved son. Second, it has nothing to do with the eldest uncle of the Su family. But who could it be? Who would benefit from losing Jing Yun? Sheng Xiao hugged her at Mu Qiqi's analysis and smiled meaningfully. Whose cheese did Jing Yun touch? Wouldn't the truth be revealed when he returns? Chapter 338. He's afraid that the Su family is just like the Sheng family, scheming against each other, and afraid that he can't protect fourth sister. It's only natural that Jing Yun would be afraid. If Mu Qiqi didn't love Sheng Xiao so much that she couldn't live without him, why would she go to such a dangerous place like the Sheng family? Still, I have the feeling that giving in won't reap good results. If Jing Yun was really killed by someone, I would definitely find the culprit if I were him. Sheng Xiao looked down at Xiao Qi'er and couldn't help chuckling. It's good that you know how to take revenge. Mu Qiqi couldn't help pushing him away when she saw him approaching. Don't get so close to me. I stink. Sheng Xiao did not move away from her. Instead, he hugged her tightly in his arms. I don't despise you, and you despise me? The French perfumer will come tomorrow, and I'll have her make a perfume specifically for your skin. Will it really work? Mu Qiqi asked. It definitely will. Mu Qiqi couldn't help reaching out to unbutton Sheng Xiao's shirt at his words. You're the person who treats me the best in this world. So, mister, do you want to marry me? Mu Qiqi asked flirtatiously. Sheng Xiao said nothing else, and simply grabbed Mu Qiqi's hand, flipping her over and pressing her beneath him. Since she was offering herself to him, he wouldn't hold back. Late at night, in Sheng Minglan's apartment, Jing Yun knew everything about himself, but he didn't tell Sheng Minglan a single word. It wasn't because he hadn't thought of how to handle it yet. He must find the culprit, but he wouldn't know who it was without contact with the Su family. Jing Yun, you've been distracted all night. What's wrong? Jing Yun shook his head and continued watching TV with Sheng Minglan in his arms. What would you do if I'm not me? What do you mean? Jing Yun didn't answer. Instead, he lifted Sheng Minglan's chin and kissed her. It was a long time before he released her. Sheng Minglan's face was flushed now. We don't seem to have any restraint these days. I won't disturb you if you want to rest tonight. Jing Yun said. That's not what I mean. Minglan, are you really willing to be with me for the rest of your life, regardless of who I am, even if I have nothing? Sheng Minglan was sure that Jing Yun was behaving strangely. She turned to look at him. Aren't I doing that now? I love you as a person and the feelings you've shown me for so many years. They're not worldly possessions. I want to marry you. Having said that, Jing Yun picked Sheng Minglan up from the sofa. How could a man not be affectionate when he had his lover in his arms? Blushing, Sheng Minglan could only hug his neck tightly and enjoy his most tender kisses and caresses. It was also on this night that Jing Yun made a very important decision. On the other hand, Mama Sheng had not made any progress with Sheng Minglan, which annoyed the old man. He wanted Sheng Minglan to come home, but he did not know how to appear before his granddaughter. All along, he had asked someone to look for Sheng Minglan's address, though he did not know how he could appear in front of his granddaughter. That was why he went to Sheng Minglan's new company after running out of ideas. Of course, he did not go there himself. So, having exhausted all his options, he went to Sheng Minglan's new company to see if there was any news about seventh sister. But when he arrived at Sheng Minglan's new company and revealed his identity, he was stopped by the secretary. "I'm sorry, Chief Sheng is not in the office right now." In fact, Sheng Minglan was having lunch with Jing Yin near the office. Even during lunch break, Jing Yin did not let go of the chance to meet Sheng Minglan. Helpless when he did not see her, sixth brother turned to leave Sheng Minglan's office. But just as he stepped out of the door, he saw Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan entering the office one after another. And when no one was paying attention, Sheng Minglan tiptoed and kissed Jing Yin's cheek. Sixth brother was left dumbfounded. Not knowing what was going on, he quickly hid in a corner. It was only after Jing Yin left that he returned to Sheng Minglan's office. Sheng Minglan had already learned about sixth brother's visit from her secretary. But when she turned around and saw this person, her heart skipped a beat. Could he have seen everything just now? "What are you doing here instead of working at Huangyao?" "Fourth sister, I want to know if you've seen seventh sister. Or did she contact you on her own?" "No." Sheng Minglan shook her head. "You should know how much seventh sister hates me. Why would she come looking for me?" "If that's the case, you should go back to your work, fourth sister." Sheng Minglan had wanted to ask sixth brother if he had seen anything he shouldn't have. But since sixth brother did not mention it, she would be exposing herself if she poked at him. In fact, sixth brother was not harboring any ill intentions. He simply believed that Jing Yin was not good enough for his fourth sister. That was why he went straight to Huang Yao after he left Sheng Minglan's office, dragged Jing Yin to the balcony, and interrogated him. "What is your relationship with fourth sister?" Jing Yin stared at sixth brother in shock, but soon regained his composure. "Tell me, you toad. Are you still hoping to eat a swan? Let me tell you, I won't tell Grandpa about this for the time being. But you have to leave my fourth sister immediately. You have to know that being with her is harming her. If Grandpa finds out, he'll definitely beat her to death." I hope that sixth young master would keep his word and not tell the chairman about this. "I won't say anything if you leave fourth sister. Otherwise, I'll have to let Grandpa handle this. I'll handle my own business. You know very well who you are, Jing Yin. You've been with eighth brother for so many years, but you're still an outsider, and an orphan at that. You're just a servant and a dog of the Sheng family." Jing Yin's gaze sharpened at the last word. Still, sixth brother did not think that he was wrong. "Either way, you have to leave fourth sister now. I'll give you 1 day, or I'll tell Grandpa tomorrow." Jing Yin said nothing as he watched sixth brother leave. Still, he should be more careful and not have too much intimate contact with Sheng Minglan when they were outside. Now that sixth brother knew, and saw it by accident, there would be a huge uproar if he told the chairman, and the entire Sheng family would be in a mess. Chapter 339. Jing Yin kept his cool and told Sheng Xiao about it. Sheng Xiao glared at him when he heard it. "Don't you know how to restrain yourselves? My mom saw it too." Jing Yin's entire body stiffened at that. How could a first-time lover know how intimate they appeared in front of outsiders? After all, both he and Sheng Minglan only had eyes for each other at the time. "It's easy with my mom since she's on our side. But as for sixth brother, you know that he has a grudge against us because of what happened to seventh brother. Still, it's not difficult to pacify him for now. Still, you have to make plans for that." "I'm going to meet the Su family," Jing Yin answered. Because he wanted to uncover the truth, he did not want to be left in the dark. More importantly, he wanted to return to his rightful place. At least, he was not a dog of the Sheng family in sixth brother's eyes. Sheng Xiao was naturally unaware that sixth brother had said that to Jing Yin. He would not be sitting still if he did. Whatever the case may be, sixth brother was a ticking time bomb. "Make the necessary arrangements, since you're going to meet the Su family. Are you going to meet Su Yihong directly, or the Su couple?" Jing Yin stared at Sheng Xiao but did not answer, because he was more inclined to meet the Su couple directly. Meanwhile, Sixth brother paced around his room in irritation after he returned to the Sheng family's residence. After all, he was now carrying a shocking secret. He really wanted to tell the old man and have him punish Jing Yun. How dare a toad lusting after a swan's flesh? He wanted the old man to beat Jing Yun up so that he would know his place. Still, if he brought the matter to light, the old man would definitely punish Sheng Minglan as well. Although he was aware that seventh brother and fourth sister had a grudge, Mu Qiqi was the main culprit in the matter, which was why he did not blame fourth sister. Meanwhile, Mama Sheng's task was to keep an eye on sixth brother. She had received Sheng Zhao's call, and her worries were starting to come true. It was just that no one could connect the two of them now. Come to think of it, there were only a few places Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi could go on a date, because Sheng Xiao knew very well how vast Huang Yao's sphere of influence was. Now he could only stall for as long as he could. That night, Jing Yun went home to pack his things, pretending that he was going on a business trip. Sheng Minglan could not help being puzzled at that. I didn't hear eighth brother was going anywhere. Are you going alone? Jing Yun stopped what he was doing and straightened to Sheng Minglan. I'm going to find my identity. Sheng Minglan was puzzled. Be more specific. Actually, I've already found my parents and found out my true identity. However, I haven't met them yet. There are a lot of mysteries in my heart that I want to solve. So I plan to make a trip there. Sheng Minglan suddenly understood why Jing Yun had been acting strangely lately. Why did you only tell me now? Sheng, Tisheng said. Yun said, I say. I'll go with you. That way, I'll be the first to know if anything happens to you. Otherwise, I'll just be on tenterhooks. But sixth young master saw us today, and I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to stop himself from telling the chairman. That's why I'm entrusting you to him. You can stay in Jingting for a while, so I won't have to worry. Jing Yun, I said I'll go with you. Sheng Minglan was insistent. I want to know why your family would abandon you. Jing Yun was helpless but compromised. By the time we get back to Jianchuan, the news would have spread. It would come sooner or later, wouldn't it? Sheng Minglan was not afraid at all. In fact, she was a little delighted. After all, she had long wanted to tell the world about Jing Yun's identity. She loved him and wanted to be with him, and no one could separate them. Sleep for a while. I'll pack. Since Su Holdings had not fully moved here, the Su couple often stayed in other cities. Sheng Minglan nodded and held Jing Yun's hand tightly. No matter what happens, I will face it with you. I'm weak, but I'm not afraid of anything as long as I'm with you. Jing Yun called Sheng Xiao and asked him to keep sixth brother in check for now, or at least not let it happen when he was not in Jianchuan. Deep down he was retreating. He did not want to bring Sheng Minglan any pain. But now, this woman was holding his hand so firmly and staying by his side. If he retreated, he would not be a man anymore. After all, the two of them were already husband and wife. Regardless of what the future held, he would first work hard to resist the mountain that was old Sheng. He would sacrifice everything for Sheng Minglan, even his own life. Holding hands, the two of them sat in the airport lobby. This time, he was really going to find the answers to his parentage. Jing Yun is getting braver. Mu Qiqi was relieved when she learned that they were leaving together. Although there's no telling when sixth brother, that ticking time bomb would explode. Do you think Jing Yun is still afraid? He was not afraid. He would stand in front of Sheng Minglan, even if thousands of arrows pierced his heart. I hope Jing Yun's trip ends well. Even then, Mu Qiqi was not aware of what old Sheng was up to in secret. She was worried about Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan, but did not know that her own situation was the one that worried her the most. After all, old Sheng had gotten in touch with the Gu family as he wished, and had a preliminary conversation with them. As for whether his plan could come to fruition in March, it all depended on whether Miss Gu was willing to cooperate. On the other hand, sixth brother could not sit still for the entire day. Mama Sheng had seen him walking past the old man's study many times, and it was easy to imagine how much the brat wanted to tell the old man about it. His sister was already guilty of the most heinous crime. Was he going to be the same as her? Sixth brother believed that he was keeping his word. After all, he had given Jing Yun one day to break up with Sheng Minglan, and he could not break his promise before the day was up. Unexpectedly, When he called Jingyan the next morning, he found that his phone was not in the service area, just like Sheng Minglan. Could they have eloped, because they knew that disaster was coming? Chapter 340. Sixth brother immediately wanted to go to the old man, but ran into Sheng Xiao on his way to the old man's study. Sheng Xiao was wearing a black handmade suit, his figure appearing tall and slender, as he stood in the corridor of the Sheng residence. Sixth brother, where are you going? Sixth brother glared at Sheng Xiao and pointed at his nose, scolding him. You found yourself a good-for-nothing Mu Chichi. Why would you ruin fourth sister's life? I don't understand. What happened to fourth sister? Stop playing dumb. By the way, the project manager in Africa has resigned. Why don't you go over and replace him? Sheng Xiao smiled. I was just about to talk to the old man about this. Why don't we go together? Tell me, where did Jingyan go? Why isn't your phone in the service area? I asked him to go on a business trip. What about it? Sheng Xiao's expression was calm throughout. I told this toad to break up with fourth sister. In the end, he eloped with fourth sister. I'm going to tell grandfather about this. Alright, you can go and tell old master. No one can stop you, but you have to think about what happened to seventh sister, because she framed her. Sheng Xiao stared coldly at sixth brother. You can tell the old man about this, and he could ask Jing Yin to leave and disappear from this world. But you should know how much fourth sister would hate you in the end. In the end, this is fourth sister's business. What does it have to do with you? Sixth brother looked at Sheng Xiao, especially at his eyes. They were long, narrow and deep, and there was no telling what he was plotting. It was unfathomable. Jing Yin is your assistant. He's just a dog of the Sheng family. At least he has done something for the Sheng family. What have you done for the Sheng family? Sheng Xiao asked sixth brother in return. Every penny you spend now is thanks to Jing Yin. What right do you have to be so shameless and call him a dog? Is that so? So does he want something of a higher class, a loyal dog? Pack your things and go to Africa immediately. Otherwise, I'll freeze your account. Sheng Xiao did not want to be entangled with sixth brother. After all, they were like fire and water because of what happened to seventh sister. Who are you to decide whether I stay or leave? Because I am the president of Huangyao. With that, Sheng Xiao turned around and left. Speaking of which, didn't you also contribute to this? Also, you call Jingyan a dog, but in my heart, you're worse than a dog. I'll give you 2 hours to check in, or you'll have to bear the consequences. Sixth brother was reluctant. Sheng Xiao was clearly doing that to stop the old man from learning about Jing Yin and fourth sister. A loyal dog wanted to marry the young lady of the Sheng family? Most importantly, Jing Yin was Sheng Xiao's assistant, or sixth brother wouldn't bear such a grudge. Sheng Xiao did not go to Grandpa Sheng's study. Instead, he went to his mother's room. When Mama Sheng learned about it, she shook her head. This won't stop sixth brother. I don't want to stop him, Sheng Xiao replied. Let him cause trouble and anger the old man. It's just right. But what about Jing Yin and fourth sister? Did he really run out and hide? Eloped? Mom, Jing Yin went on a business trip. Fourth sister just followed him. But if the old man asks, how should I answer? Mama Sheng was very worried. Just say that Jing Yin went on a business trip with fourth sister, and nothing else. We'll talk about it when they come back. Even if sixth brother goes to the old man to make a fuss, the old man would have to believe him. You just have to pretend you don't know anything. But they would have to face, Sheng Xiao gestured for her to calm down. Meanwhile, Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan had successfully checked into the hotel. To smoothly meet Su matriarch, Sheng Minglan used her company's name to meet the Su couple. The Su couple were surprised when they received the invitation, since Sheng Minglan's department store and the medical industry had no potential for collaboration. Why would she meet the old couple? Still, the couple agreed to meet at 6 in the evening. Sheng Minglan looked down at Jing Yin when she read the reply. Nervous? Jing Yin shook his head. To convince them, I brought a picture of you when we were young. Jing Yin reached out to hug Sheng Minglan. Although he didn't say it, Sheng Minglan could feel that he was nervous, and his body was trembling. You'll see them tonight. Meanwhile, at the Sheng residence, sixth brother was packing his things early in the morning, which caught the old man's attention. Where are you going? Africa. Sixth brother replied irritably. Can't help it. The CEO of Huang Yao has a lot of influence. What can I do when he wants me to be in charge of a project in Africa? Since eighth brother sent you, just treat it as training. The old man glared at him. Aren't you curious, grandfather? Why would eighth brother send me to Africa? Do you think I don't know about your grudge? You hate eighth brother, and Muchichi because of seventh sister. Sixth brother couldn't help laughing at that. Our Sheng family is really inviting a wolf into our house. Grandpa, why don't you ask your eighth brother where his assistant went and where fourth sister went? Hearing this, Grandpa Sheng couldn't help but frown. What do you mean? What I mean is, you might have a poor grandson-in-law. You mean, that's impossible. The old man didn't believe it. It had been so many years, and it would have happened long ago, if Jing Yin and fourth sister really had something going on. They wouldn't have waited until now. I saw it with my own eyes. They kissed, and even went on a business trip together. Aren't you worried at all, grandfather? Hearing this, the old man's body stiffened. It's best if you investigate this in private. They might have been living together a long time ago. Ask eighth brother. He can think of 1,000 ways to brush you off. The old man took a deep breath and waved at sixth brother. Hurry up and leave. Don't be an eyesore. Sixth brother snorted coldly. He wouldn't believe that eighth brother would have the ability to marry Jing Yin into the Sheng family. But did Jing Yin need to marry into the Sheng family? The old man was upset when he heard the news, and promptly sent someone to Sheng Minglan's company to investigate. He found out that Sheng Minglan and Jing Yin were really close, having meals together, and getting off work together almost every day. What else could it be if not a couple? In fact, Sheng Xiao didn't stop the old man from investigating. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found anything if Sheng Minglan's company explained everything. What could he do even if he knew now? The old man became more furious the more he thought about it. Unable to contact Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan, he called Sheng Xiao's phone. Get your ass back here. Chapter 341. What do you mean, old man? Sheng Xiao asked in return. So angry in the middle of the day. Where's Jing Yin? On a business trip. What about fourth sister? How would I know where she is? Maybe she's on a business trip too. Sheng Xiao answered cynically. Did you call me back just to ask about their whereabouts? Don't tell me you don't know about their relationship. I've already gone to fourth sister's company and found out that they're together. The old man stomped his walking stick. Sheng Xiao, she's your sister. How could you let her be with your assistant? Don't you know how different their statuses are? Why are you getting mad at me? Do you have proof from the company? Jing Yin has a good relationship with fourth sister because she saved him, and they've been living with innocence all these years. If they had feelings for each other, they would have done it a long time ago. Why wait until now? I don't want to tell you anything now. I just want to know where fourth sister is. When she comes back, I won't let her leave the Sheng family, let alone be with those shady people. Sheng Xiao and Muchichi looked at each other, but neither said a word. What could he do to them now that Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan were not in Jianchuan? I'm asking you, Sheng Xiao. Where's fourth sister? The old man suddenly yelled at Sheng Xiao. A daughter of the Sheng family would never be the wife of an assistant. I won't let her slit her wrists. And that assistant of yours. He's such a cruel and ungrateful thing. Sheng Xiao could not be bothered to listen to him, and left with Muchichi. And the old man hated Sheng Xiao's unruly behavior the most. He had been like that since he was young. He did not care if Sheng Xiao would be obedient. As long as Miss Gu came to the Sheng family, Sheng Xiao could marry her, and have a son and a daughter, and he would have completed the mission given to him by his ancestors. I'll let you be arrogant now, but when the time comes, let's see if you can still laugh. On the way back, Muchichi couldn't help worrying. What should we do, Xiao Xiao? Judging from the old man's attitude, he would never allow those two to be together. Jing Yin will win. Sheng Xiao caressed Muchichi's hair to reassure her. Muchichi trusted Sheng Xiao and nodded in relief. Still, I can't help feeling a little nervous when I see Grandpa in a fit of rage. I wonder how things are on Jing Yin's side. If he wasn't a member of the Su family, would you have exposed their relationship? It's only a matter of time before he's exposed. It has nothing to do with Jing Yin being a member of the Su family. It's just that he has more leverage since he's a member of the Su family. If he's not a member of the Su family, how are we supposed to help them? Sheng Xiao looked down at Mu Qiqi and could not help chuckling. Helping them escape. Ah, idiot, Sheng Xiao cursed softly. There was no need to fight Grandpa Sheng head-on. They could find a place where no one knew them, get married and have children. When the Sheng family was reshuffled, would Grandpa Sheng be able to stop them? Of course, this was the last resort. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. The Su couple had arrived at the hotel as promised and met Sheng Minglan. Both husband and wife looked very cultured, noble and elegant. After all, they were also successful people. Still, they appeared puzzled when they saw Sheng Minglan. Miss Sheng, Su Holdings and Huang Yao don't have much of a partnership to work with. I wonder if you... Sheng Minglan said nothing, and simply took out the photo of her and Jing Yin from her handbag, and put it in front of them. Madame Su was skinny but very spirited, wearing a cheongsam, and exuding the aura of a noble family. On the other hand, Papa Su looked like a scholar, wearing glasses and a suit, and appeared to be very particular. Both of them were stunned when they took the photo. That's our third brother? When I was young, I found a boy who was about to freeze to death in a world of ice and snow. That's why I brought him home, and made him my brother's playmate. Both husband and wife looked at the photo, with Madame Su crying out loud. My third brother. Husband, that's our son. But Miss Sheng, to tell you the truth, we found our son 2 years ago, and we did a DNA test. He's definitely our son, Papa Su said. Uncle, Auntie, you wouldn't mistake your son's appearance when he was young, would you? I think you two might have been fooled, Sheng Minglan said. Well, where is this child now? Madame Su asked. He's outside Jing Yin. Sheng Minglan called out to the door of the private room. Jing Yin pushed the door open and entered. When the old couple saw Jing Yin, especially Madame Su, it was as if they were looking at their husband in his youth, and there was not much difference between them. Hence, her eyes reddened at once. Child, my child. Mama Su promptly rose to her feet and walked to Jing Yin, grabbing his arm and studying him from head to toe. She was even more certain when she saw the red birthmark beneath his earlobe. Old Su, that's our son. There's no mistaking it. But the one at home? That's easy, Uncle. You just need to do another DNA test in secret. You would definitely get the answer, Sheng Minglan suggested. Papa Su nodded. In truth, he was more willing to believe that Jing Yin was his son, because he looked so much like him when he was young. Why did you only come to us now, my child? Jing Yin was unsure how to face his parents at once, and simply answered them. I was abandoned on the streets of Jianchuan when I was young. I fell sick in the cold and snow. Minglan found me later, and brought me back to the Sheng family. I don't remember much about my childhood after that. I lost you at the airport. How did you end up in Jianchuan? Jing Yin shook his head. I only remember that the person who abandoned me told me that I wouldn't be able to find my way home if I was 1,000 miles away. Who could be so cruel as to leave my son in the cold? Madame Su cried out. My child, this is my child, my poor child. Papa Su couldn't help tearing up as well. You don't know this, but your mother had searched every corner of the city just to find you. She had even asked around, but she didn't know that you were abandoned so far away. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're home. Jing Yin looked at his parents, especially his kind parents, and could not help but be moved. I'm sorry. Chapter 342. Don't be sad now that we're reunited, Uncle Auntie. There would be many chances for us to share our feelings in the future. But the most important thing now is to find out what's going on with the impersonator. At Sheng Minglan's reminder, Mama Su dried her tears and looked at her husband. Yihong was the one who found him. Su Yihong was Jing Yun's eldest brother, and the Professor Mu Qiqi saw giving a speech at Shengting University. We'll have to ask Yihong when we get home. Auntie, I think you should quietly do the DNA test first. With the evidence in your hands, no matter who is lying to whom, at least you will know in your heart, Sheng Minglan suggested. Papa Su found it reasonable at that. That's right. Whatever the reason, impersonating my son is a lie. Are we going to keep it a secret too? That would be best. It's a secret. Sheng Minglan was a little more cautious, since Mama Sue mentioned that Sue Ihong was the one who found the impersonator. Where are you staying then? I want to see my son a few more times. You're not in a hurry to leave, are you? Mama Sue quickly asked. We'll stay here until we get to the bottom of this. Sheng Minglan dispelled Mama Sue's concerns. Jingyun wants to know who the culprit was who left him at Jianchuan. How dare they treat my son like this? I'll get justice for him. Papa Sue was holding Jingyun's hand tightly as well, apologizing profusely. It's all my fault. I lost you when we were fighting for the management rights, and I've blamed myself every day for all these years. I miss you every day. Jingyun stared at his parents, and eventually couldn't help holding them in his arms. I thought I was an orphan. Nonsense. You're not an orphan. You're the third young master of the Sue family. I'll make it up to you. I'll give you the best in the world. Jingyun's mood was very complicated. He never imagined that someone would impersonate him and deceive his parents. The Sue couple stayed at the hotel until late at night, and would not have left if Sheng Minglan hadn't reminded them. Don't show it before you get the DNA report. You wouldn't know how cunning the culprit is. Mama Sue kept Sheng Minglan's words in mind. On the way back, she had a discussion with her husband. I don't need a test to know that Jing Yin is our child. He looks so much like you in the past. Not only that, Miss Minglan also has a photo as proof. But when I think of our son wandering outside and suffering so much, my heart feels like it's being pricked by needles. Aren't I the same? Papa Sue added. I knew that he was my son the moment I saw him, because I could feel the bond of blood between father and son. Madam, fourth Mrs. Reminder is right. Don't let the scoundrel continue to get his way. We have to keep calm, and not show anything when we get home. Don't worry. I'll make sure these swindlers die a horrible death. After the couple finished their discussion, they quickly returned home. When they saw the imposter sitting in the living room playing with her phone, they walked over to her as usual. Mama Sue carefully studied the birthmark behind the imposter's ear, only to realize that it looked more like a tattoo than a natural birthmark. Mom, Dad, where have you been? Why are you back so late? To see an old friend. Mama Sue replied. It's getting late. Go to bed. The imposter nodded, picked up her phone, and returned to her room. Soon Sue Ihong entered the house exhausted. Dad, Mom. Ihong, how are the preparations for moving to Jianchuan coming along? Papa Sue asked. Dad, the environment there really isn't as good as our home. Are you sure you want to move there? Of course. It's a sad place for us, and I want to start a new life with your brother and sister. Didn't we agree on that when we found your brother? Sue Ihong nodded. All right, the preparations are almost done, and the place to stay is ready as well. Our family can move there anytime. That's good. The couple did not bat an eyelid at all. It was only when the brothers went to bed that they quietly took the imposter's toothbrush and sent it to the hospital's forensics department, paying a hefty fee to have it processed as soon as possible. Jing Yun's reunion with his parents went smoothly, but it also gave rise to more questions. For example, where did Sue Ihong find the imposter? Did he do it on purpose or was he a victim too? Jing Yun had been abandoned before, and now an imposter had appeared in the Sue family. They found it hard to believe that it was all a coincidence. That night, Jing Yun told Sheng Xiao about what happened, and Sheng Xiao was intrigued. There's actually an imposter. Young master, what do you think about this? Be careful of your eldest brother. Sheng Xiao simply watched. Moreover, the old man already knows about your relationship with fourth sister, and he's on the verge of losing his mind. When are you coming back? It would take around 3 days for the DNA report to come out. And here I thought it was just a simple reunion. I didn't expect there to be so many complications. Sheng Xiao showed great interest in the matter. Someone is toying with you. How do you plan to retaliate, Jing Yun? As someone around Sheng Xiao, he did not know what it meant to be taken advantage of, especially when it was such a grudge. I'll make him wish he was dead. Mu Qiqi was lying on Sheng Xiao's chest, and her tired head was immediately refreshed when she heard their conversation. I didn't think that someone would really impersonate someone else's son. Of course, it's easy to fool everyone with a fake DNA report, especially when the Sue couple misses their son so much. It's great that everything is going well for Jing Yun. Hurry up and do the DNA test. Chase away the imposter and find out the truth. Do you want to join in the fun? Sheng Xiao asked the little one in his arms, raising a brow. You're on vacation anyway, and I could go around with you. You're afraid that there's a mastermind behind this, and Jing Yun might fall for it. Mu Qiqi immediately saw through him. Of course I'm fine. It's just that Grandpa might ask about your whereabouts. He doesn't care where I go. That's settled then. Mu Qiqi appeared a little excited. And you really are like a real brother to Jing Yun, Xiao Xiao. Chapter 343. While Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan could wait for 3 days elsewhere, old Sheng could not. And now, Sheng Xiao had left Jianchuan with Mu Qiqi. What did that mean? Things between Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan were definitely not as simple as Sheng Xiao made them out to be. Was there anything else that could be said for Sheng Minglan and Jing Yun leaving together? The old man was very angry. In fact, he was absolutely furious. But now that Sheng Xiao was not in Jianchuan, the old man simply told Mama Sheng, when he had a meeting at the Sheng residence that night, "You gave birth to our son. It's your business to find him. But when Sheng Xiao comes back, I hope that he will explain clearly what happened to fourth sister and that ingrate. As for fourth sister, I'll keep sending people to look for her." Mama Sheng said nothing, because she was angry too. I gave birth to our son, but I'm not the only one who should educate him, am I? Moreover, what happened between fourth sister and Jing Yun is ultimately a personal affair between them. Why should my son have to explain himself? Father, you don't have to put on an accusatory attitude. You're basically saying that Sheng Xiao harmed your granddaughter. The old man was naturally even more displeased at Mama Sheng's words. Xiao Qin, have you been influenced by Mu Qiqi recently and forgotten who you are? You're the matriarch of the Sheng family. You're in charge of the family and everything. Who else should I look for if not you when something happens to the Sheng family? I'll relay your message when Sheng Xiao comes back. Mama Sheng was too lazy to argue with the old man. Whatever happened to the Sheng family, it was someone else's fault. Isn't that it? The old man was furious and irritated. Sheng Minglan had chosen a watchdog of the Sheng family instead of anyone else. She was the young lady of the great Sheng family. Jing Yun? Who the hell was Jing Yun? How dare he scheme against the Sheng family? To prevent Jing Yun from causing more damage to the Sheng family, the old man promptly ordered everyone in Huang Yao to suspend Jing Yun from his duties. What a toad lusting after a swan's flesh, a fool's dream. On the other side, Sheng Xiao had brought Mu Qiqi and Jing Yun to meet up. Naturally, Jing Yun also learned from Sheng Xiao that the old man was furious. Sheng Minglan was a little worried. When she was resting at night, she sat on the bed and looked at Jing Yun. I want you to promise me that you won't leave me behind no matter what happens. You won't say that you want me to go back to the Sheng family alone for my own good. Jing Yun turned and stared at Sheng Minglan solemnly, holding her slender right hand as he calmly replied, "Since we're together, I naturally won't abandon you. This has nothing to do with whether or not I'm a member of the Su family. Even if I've always been an orphan, since I've gotten you, I won't let go of you so easily no matter what." Sheng Minglan only hugged him when she heard that. "You promised me. You can't go back on your word. Come." Jing Yun lifted the blanket and sat on the bed, holding Sheng Minglan tightly in his arms. "I mean what I say." After loving Sheng Minglan for so many years, Jing Yun had long since fused her into his flesh and blood. And since they were together now, he naturally wouldn't simply push Sheng Minglan away. Moreover, Sheng Xiao was there. Even if the entire world couldn't believe it, it wasn't as if there was no turning back as long as Sheng Xiao was there. Seeing that Sheng Minglan had fallen asleep, Jing Yun whispered softly to her in the dark, "I'm so useless, aren't I? I have to rely on young master for everything." The Su family. It wasn't calm right now. The DNA test results would be out tomorrow morning, due to the urgent processing. Although there was no suspense in the Su couple's mind, they were still nervous when they really had to face the evidence. "Old Su, if our son is confirmed to be an imposter, wouldn't Nihong be fooled too?" "Of course," Papa Su replied. "Or would your eldest son deliberately lie to you? What's there to lie about? Why aren't you two asleep yet?" Behind the screen, Su Yihong had just entered the house when he sensed that his parents were having a serious discussion. Oh, I'm asking your father when we can move to Jianchuan. And he said that you've already done it. Mama Su quickly changed the topic and answered her eldest son. Su Yihong nodded and put down his briefcase. Are you in a hurry, Mom? I'm just thinking that since we have to leave sooner or later, we might as well use this chance to get there earlier. Well, I'll hurry the people down there to get ready. Okay. The Su couple shared a look, but neither of them told Su Yihong about it, because they remembered Sheng Minglan's instructions that it would be best if they had the evidence before revealing it to their family. Well, I'm going upstairs to rest, Su Yihong told his parents. His parents nodded, and naturally didn't continue the topic. Meanwhile, Su Yihong was still feeling uneasy when he went upstairs, and so knocked on his brother's door. Keep an eye on Mom and Dad over the next few days. I have the feeling that they're hiding something from us. The imposter nodded and scratched his head. Bro, what is it? Su Yihong turned and asked. Nothing. The imposter was actually suspecting that his toothbrush had been swapped out. Although the one he was using now was no different from the one he used before, he had the feeling that it was a little new. Of course, Mama Su had swapped it out in secret. Even so, he didn't dare to tell Su Yihong, afraid that he would accuse him of making a mountain out of a molehill. The next morning, Mr. and Mrs. Su left the Su residence with the excuse that they were visiting a friend, and met up with Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan at the appraisal center. The results are out. The staff of the appraisal center handed the results to Papa Su. This is the urgent document you had to process. With the results, Papa Su deliberately opened it in front of everyone. Mama Su moved closer to read it too, and officially confirmed Jing Yun's identity. You really are my son. There's no mistake. You are our son. Both husband and wife promptly embraced Jing Yun. Jing Yun hugged his parents as well, and led them away from the appraisal center. It was an expected outcome. Sheng Minglan was pleased at that. Jing Yun, can you still say you're an orphan now? This isn't the place to talk. Let's talk somewhere else. The family returned to the hotel where Jing Yun was staying, and closed the door to their discussion. The results are out. The one in our house is definitely an imposter, but there are two questions now. First, how did the imposter contact Yihong? Second, how did the DNA test go unnoticed? Since Yihong was the one who did both, I can't help but be suspicious, Mama Su said to Papa Su. Chapter 344. We could call the police right away if Yihong was tricked too, Mama Su said. But what if Yihong has something to do with it? Whatever the case may be, it's the greatest consolation that we have found our real son. Still, Jing Yun was very suspicious of his eldest brother Su Yihong. After all, Sheng Xiao had asked him to be wary of Su Yihong. Everything had been handled by him, and he would definitely be involved in this matter. So why would he find an imposter? Well, Yifeng, come home with us, Mama Su told Jing Yun even as she wept. I want to make it up to you after all the years you've suffered outside. I want to find out why I was abandoned before. Jing Yun answered Mama Su. Our son is right. What if he hurts us again, if we don't find the culprit? Papa Su answered Mama Su seriously as well. Whatever the case may be, we should deal with the imposter first, and then talk to Yihong. I really don't know what Yihong is up to. He actually mistook his own brother for someone else. Jing Yun could see that the couple were calm, and knew that they were thoughtful people. That was why he did not remind the couple, or voice his doubts. Otherwise, Su Yihong would think that he was trying to sow discord between them. Well, I'll have to trouble my son to stay in the hotel for now. Fourth miss, is Yifeng's girlfriend? Mama Su had a pair of sharp eyes, and could see through their relationship at once. Blushing, Sheng Minglan nodded. Mama Su held her hand and praised her profusely. A young lady from a great family is so elegant and noble. No wonder Yifeng likes you. Moreover, you're my son's benefactor. I really don't know how to thank you. You're being too serious, madam. Sheng Minglan quickly held Mama Su's hand and comforted her. With the DNA certificate in hand, the Su couple's hearts were completely at ease. They wanted Jing Yun to return to his family as soon as possible, but Jing Yun felt that now was not the time. The couple chatted with Jing Yun for the entire day, and it was 10 o'clock in the evening when they finally left. That was when Xing Xiao came in with Mu Qiqi from next door. Although your identity has been confirmed, you're still a stranger to the Su family, and it's not appropriate for you to interfere. Therefore, you can leave the matter of the impostor to your parents. What you need to do is investigate your eldest brother Su Yihong. Jing Yun, this shouldn't be difficult for you. You have to understand him from the moment he was born until now. Young master, do you think that Su Yihong must be hiding a secret no one knows about? Sheng Xiao told Jing Yun confidently. Jing Yun trusted Sheng Xiao. He had never made a mistake in judging people over the years, and this matter was so obvious. Before the impostor entered the Su family, he must have planned many detours to mislead the Su couple. From the looks of it, your parents should be meticulous people, so they should know better than to deliberately provoke your eldest brother. Jing Yun nodded, because he could sense that his parents were not impulsive people. Moreover, you must explain your and fourth sister's current stance, and the predicament you're facing when you meet them next time. Otherwise, people could easily misunderstand that you're plotting something against Su Holdings when the Sheng family is oppressing you. I understand. Mu Qiqi promptly worshipped her man from the bottom of her heart at Sheng Xiao's words. After all, Sheng Xiao was truly meticulous. He could see problems that others couldn't, and put an end to them. It was no wonder why he never lost in the business world. On the way back, Mama Su showed her concern. Old Su, why do I feel that there's something wrong with eldest brother? Before the impostor entered the family, we had tried to find third brother many times to get some clues, only to be cut off. Moreover, I've told you before that we're not looking in the right direction. Papa Su was silent for a long time at her words. I hope that our theory isn't true. Whatever happens, we have to trust eldest brother on the surface. I know what to do, Mayam. Papa Su replied. When they reached home, Su Yihong and the impostor were having dinner. Mama Su gave Papa Su a look, and the two promptly understood. It was only after they had dinner that Papa Su sat on the sofa in the living room and asked the impostor, Yifeng, call your brother down. I have something to say. All right. The impostor nodded and went upstairs to call Su Yihong as well. What is it, Dad? Papa Su didn't seem to have anything to say when they were having dinner in the dining room. I have something to ask you two brothers. Yihong, how did you find Yifeng back then? Su Yihong's face fell. His entire body was breaking out in a faint sweat, his mind blanking. I found Yifeng's birthmark by accident in a restaurant. Su Yihong reminded himself to calm down, and answered Papa Su's question with composure. What about the DNA test? Did you do it yourself? Dad, what's going on today? Su Yihong had an idea, and was afraid that his parents had discovered something. I have a document here. Take a look. With that, Papa Su took out the document and put it in front of Su Yihong. This is the latest DNA test report. This person before us isn't my son, or your brother. The matter was exposed, but the two of them were not flustered. Su Yihong and the impostor promptly knelt before them. Dad, I'm sorry. Why? Because I don't want to see Mother keep searching. We don't even know if third brother is dead or alive in the sea of people. And it's too hard to keep searching like that. Moreover, I'm afraid that Mother's paranoia would worsen, which is why I arranged for this child to be your son. Su Yihong confessed honestly. It's only bloodline if we find our own flesh and blood. It's all meaningless if it's not our own child. Papa Su told Su Yihong. Do you know how much this hurts your mother? Dad, it's all my fault. Su Yihong took all the blame on himself. That way, even if it was a lie, it was because of his filial piety. We've found your real brother. Papa Su then told them. Since this child isn't ours, I'll let you go since you didn't mean to deceive us. Go wherever you want. Su Yihong felt as if he had suffered an even greater blow when he heard that. Chapter 345. Thank you, Uncle Su. I really didn't mean to lie to you. And thank you for your magnanimity. I really don't want your assets. I just want to help my brother. Saying all that now was meaningless. Papa Su did not trouble the man and simply let him go. To Su Yihong, however, he abruptly entered a level 1 state of alert. His younger brother was really lucky to find his way home from thousands of miles away. He was really lucky. Since you found him, Dad, let's hurry and bring third brother home. Papa Su gave Su Yihong a long look before answering. There's no hurry. We have to find out who abandoned my son in Jianchuan all those years ago. Did that mean that his younger brother couldn't remember what happened before? If that was the case, there was still a chance to turn things around. That's good. I can't let my brother suffer in vain all these years. But I want to see my brother. I want to apologize to him. My elder brother didn't give up looking for him. It was only because my mother's mental state was not good at that time that I had to do this. Your brother will understand, Papa Su said, rising to his feet. I know how to comfort your mother, so you don't have to explain anything to her. She wouldn't be upset if she remembers. I know. Well, I'm going upstairs to rest, Dad. Su Yihong slowly calmed down, his rationality slowly returning as well. Since his younger brother had appeared, he naturally had to meet him. Papa Su did not see anything in Su Yihong's eyes. After all, the impostor had appeared when his wife was in a daze, which was why it was understandable that Yihong would set up such a show to cure his mother's illness. You're letting the impostor go just like that? Mama Su asked Papa Su afterward. Papa Su explained everything to Mama Su, and only then dispelled her suspicions. I can forgive Yihong if he really did it, because of my illness. Moreover, the child didn't cause any trouble for the Su family after coming here. Nor did he ask for money. Still, who was the one who abandoned Feng in Jianchuan? Could it be that your big brother really captured Feng, to take revenge on you? I'll have to ask eldest brother about that. Papa Su said. There's bound to be something. Very well, let's have Yihong and Feng meet tomorrow. Let the two brothers properly nurture their relationship. The Su parents had let the impostor leave, because Su Yihong had taken full responsibility for the consequences. Even so, Sheng Xiao would not let go of such a good resource like the impostor. After the impostor left the Su residence and received his reward, he naturally had to return home. Moreover, the reason he had been so obedient in the Su residence before was because Su Yihong had been strict with him. Since he was already paid, he naturally didn't need to covet the Su family's assets. Otherwise, wouldn't he be left with nothing if Su Yihong exposed him? Sheng Xiao ordered Jing Yun to capture them. Jing Yun naturally seized the opportunity. He had gotten hold of the man's information over the last 2 days. And now that he was dragging his luggage out so late at night, it meant that Papa Su was going to lay his cards on the table. What came next was naturally the interrogation. Who are you? The impostor couldn't help being shocked when he saw them after his blindfold was removed. You're kidnapping me. Then do you know who you've been impersonating over the last 2 years? Sheng Xiao asked in return. The impostor did a double take before coming to a realization. You're the real young master of the Su family? Sheng Xiao shook his head and pointed at Jing Yun beside him. That's the one. Still, tell me why you were captured to replace him 2 years ago. I'll double what Su Yihong paid you. The impostor was immediately moved. Are you sure you wouldn't harm me? Why would we do anything to you if you're all fake? Sheng Xiao asked in return, sitting on the sofa. The impostor paused for a moment before nodding. I'll admit that Su Yihong hired me to impersonate the third young master of the Su family. He had me tattoo a birthmark on my ear. And to help me deceive everyone, he even forged a DNA test. Madame Su was sick at the time and missed her son, which was why Su Yihong hired me. What else do you know? Sheng Xiao pressed. The impostor did a double take and thought carefully before answering them. Su Yihong didn't seem to want to know about his own brother, and had the intention of having me take his place in the long run. Moreover, he even took back all information about Mr. and Mrs. Su's search for their son. That makes sense to Mr. and Mrs. Su, since they wouldn't have to leave messages all over the streets now that they've found their child. But Su Yihong is different. He knows that I'm fake. There's nothing unusual aside from that. Oh, and there's one more thing. Su Yihong's eldest uncle had come to him in private once. Since Mr. and Mrs. Su weren't around that day, Su Yihong thought that I'd gone out. But I didn't make a sound in my room. He only got rid of his suspicions when I climbed out the window and returned through the front door. The others had their own conclusions at that. You can leave, but I want to make sure that you and Su Yihong would have no contact. That's why we've recorded what you said just now. Brothers, I'm just asking for money. Now that both sides are paying me, I'm not a greedy person and know when to stop. The imposter was honest. Don't worry. I'll leave the country right after I get the money, and I'll send you a confirmation message. If Su Yihong learns that you've leaked that to us, I'll find you at the ends of the earth. The imposter studied Sheng Xiao closely, finding him increasingly familiar the more he looked at him, before pointing at him. You're Sheng Xiao, the crown prince of Huangyao. At least you've got a good eye. As if discovering a new continent, the imposter's mouth gaped in shock, unable to say a word. Compared to Su Yihong, he was naturally more afraid of Sheng Xiao. After all, the man was infamous. Don't worry. I wouldn't dare to offend the crown prince, even if I had 10 guts. Sheng Xiao would naturally let the imposter go since it was useless to keep him around. Still, he would send someone to monitor him at all times. It appeared that all the answers lay with Su Yihong, while Jing Yun was still investigating everything about Su Yihong. How much longer? Sheng Xiao asked. Around 2 days. Jing Yun replied. Young master, I'm guessing that Su Yihong can't sit still. He would definitely want to meet me. Then meet him. It might even stimulate your memory and remind you of something. In Sheng Xiao's mind, he had already convicted Su Yihong. Chapter 346. With Sheng Xiao and the others leaving Jianchuan, the Sheng family certainly felt uneasy, especially the old man and Mama Sheng. Sheng Xiao did not tell Mama Sheng about Jing Yun's parentage, nor did he explain why he brought Mu Qiqi away from Jianchuan. That way, Mama Sheng had no right to speak before the old man, because she had no confidence at all. How angry was the old man? Everyone in the Sheng family could see it. The names Jing Yun and Mu Qiqi were like poison to the old man, and no one dared to touch them. He hated them so much, hating them for turning the Sheng family upside down and leaving no one in peace. In the study, the old man was still fuming, but Mama Sheng came up to him to comfort him. Father, Sheng Xiao would definitely give you an explanation. He kept it from you. How dare you tell me that he would give me an explanation? Huh? Grandpa Sheng asked Mama Sheng in return. Eighth brother wasn't like this before. He wasn't like this at all. Ever since he got together with Mu Qiqi, he kept challenging my authority and my bottom line. Does Mu Qiqi have such a big impact on him? Mama Sheng's lips moved, but she said nothing. How could I hold myself back until they get married? Father, even if you don't care about anything else, shouldn't you care about the Shen family? In the end, the Shen family is a family of generals. Huangyao is already on the verge of collapse. Why would I care about the Shen family? The old man sneered. Xiaoqin, I'll make it clear to you today. As long as I'm alive, Mu Qiqi would never marry into the Sheng family. No, it's not just in life. Even in death, I would never allow Sheng Xiao to be with Mu Qiqi in my will, or I wouldn't rest in peace. Mama Sheng's heart turned cold at those words. She was worried and indignant. Why was it always Mu Qiqi's fault in the end? Fourth sister and Jing Yun are in love. What does that have to do with Mu Qiqi? And Sheng Xiao? Forgive me for being blunt, but he would still be like that even if Mu Qiqi didn't show up. He never obeyed you. And it's not something that only happens when Mu Qiqi shows up. Why is Mu Qiqi the scapegoat in the end? Dad, are you being fair? The old man flicked his sleeves and snorted. There's no such thing as fairness or unfairness. You can refuse to acknowledge Qiqi, but you will never get eighth brother's obedience. Do you really think that eighth brother cares about Huangyao and your family business? He can leave Huangyao with nothing. But you know very well that he has the ability to make a comeback and build a career more glorious than Huangyao. Is he threatened by you? Don't lie to yourself anymore. After that, Mama Sheng turned around. I don't want to be in this family anymore. Dad, you can find someone else. You. Mama Sheng did not say anything else and walked out of Grandpa Sheng's study. Communicating with extreme people would only intensify the conflict in the end. There would be no other results. On the other hand, Sheng Xiao guessed that the old man's patience was at its limit, so he gave Mama Sheng a call. Where did you go? Don't you know that Grandpa Sheng has been furious at the Sheng family for days, because he thought that all of you had eloped together? Mom, We've been investigating Jing Yun's background, and it's proven that he is the third young master of Su Holdings. Are you talking about that medical group? Mama Sheng had heard about it too. Yes. Does that mean Jing Yun is a descendant of a rich family? Mama Sheng asked in return, quickly catching the gist of Sheng Zhao's words. Interesting, isn't it? Of course it is. Do you know what your grandfather called Jing Yun? A dog of the Sheng family. With that, the old man's face would probably be slapped swollen again. How much longer do you need? Around 2 days. All right, I'll hold it off for 2 days. Come back as soon as you can. After all, Jing Yun had been with the Sheng family for so many years. He had worked hard even if not meritorious. But in the end, who in the Sheng family would remember his kindness? Everyone treated his efforts as a matter of course. Even so, Jing Yun should be repaying fourth sister. What does that have to do with the rest of the Sheng family? He had worked with the Sheng family since he was young, and it was the Sheng family who gave him opportunities. Even so, he had proven his ability with his achievements. But what did the old man think of him? A dog? If Jing Yun really was a dog, he would be better than those lazy worms in the Sheng family. Thanks, Mom. By the way, did you know that your grandfather has blamed your rebellion and Jing Yun and fourth sister's problems on Mu Qiqi? Sheng Xiao did not say anything, but the light in his eyes was unusually sharp. The old man will not be able to stand it soon, and he will come up with new tricks. I wonder what he will come up with this time. Eighth brother. What I mean is leave the Sheng family and marry into the Shen family. I won't stop you no matter what, as long as you don't have to stay with the Sheng family, and this place where you can't even breathe. I'm prepared, Mom. Don't worry, Sheng Xiao replied. It's just that you have to suffer. I've lived for most of my life. What do I have to suffer? It's not like I can't live without the Sheng family, so I won't talk to you anymore. Finish your business, and come back as soon as possible. Sheng Xiao hung up and turned to Mu Qiqi. Did you hear that? Your mother-in-law is asking me to marry into the Shen family. Ah, Mu Qiqi did a double take. Are you willing? The Shen family would welcome you 10,000 times over if you are. Little one. Sheng Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's nose before burying himself in his work. Of course, Sheng Xiao was aware that the old man had suspended Jing Yun from his duties as well. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Su brought Su Yihong to the hotel, which counted as a formal greeting between Jing Yun and the so-called eldest brother. Sheng Xiao did not show up, and stayed with Mu Qiqi in the room. Sheng Minglan stayed beside Jing Yun, and the family ate in a luxurious dining room. Su Yihong sat beside Papa Su, studying his younger brother diagonally across from him. To think that the inconspicuous young man was actually his younger brother. He was nothing like the impostor before, and appeared so calm and composed, without the vigor that a young man of his age should have. Yifeng, about the impostor. It was my fault. I didn't consider your feelings and I apologize. Your brother did it because of my illness. Mama Su quickly explained in Su Yihong's stead. I didn't take it to heart. Jing Yun replied. Well, how have you been living out there all these years? Then, how have you been out there all these years? Jing Yun knew very well that it was a ploy. Even so, he answered honestly. The Sheng family saved me, and I'm living well there. Chapter 347. Then have you remembered who you are and are looking for us? Not long ago, the young madam of the Sheng family saw you giving a speech at Shengting University in Jianchuan. She thought that we look alike, which is why she helped me search for my identity. Jing Yun answered honestly. I see. Su Yihong nodded. Now that you're back, you should spend more time by Mom and Dad's side. They've missed you for years, and since we're moving to Jianchuan soon, you could move back home. Mama Su looked at Jing Yun expectantly. Fenger, will you? I still need some time to get used to it. Jing Yun answered sincerely again. Fenger has just met his family. It'll be fine if you spend more time with them. Papa Su said cheerfully. That's true. I'm not doing my duty as a brother to take care of my younger brother, and I'll make it up to you twice as much. Is this young lady your girlfriend? After looking at Jing Yun, Su Yihong turned to Sheng Minglan. She's the fourth daughter of the Sheng family, and your brother's girlfriend. Mama Su answered on his behalf. Even so, There was something else in Su Yihong's eyes at that. Naturally, Jing Yin was looking straight at Su Yihong as well. Both brothers had their own thoughts, and neither could tell what the other was planning. Halfway through the meal, Su Yihong received a call. It appeared to be an emergency, and he rose to his feet to tell his parents. Dad, Mom, the lab has exploded. I have to go back and take a look. Hurry, Papa Su quickly said. Well, we'll meet in private, brother. Jing Yin nodded and watched as Su Yihong left. Still, he did not think that Su Yihong had left because of some accident, and that the call was merely an excuse to leave. Your brother is so busy. Mama Su smiled, and began to serve Jing Yin some food. Mother, Jing Yin called out unnaturally, unbeknownst to Mama Su how moved she was. Hey, go ahead. There's something I'd like to tell you in advance. Ming Lan and I didn't get the support of her family, but that's not why I'm here looking for my parents. It's just too much of a coincidence to discover your existence, and I'm afraid you'll misunderstand. Jing Yin explained. Silly child, there's no misunderstanding. You're the third young master of the Su family. You're our precious son. Everything in the Su family belongs to you and your children. If you say that, Mom and Dad will feel even more guilty. That's right, Fenger. You're our son, but you're actually restricted even when you're in a relationship. As a father, how uncomfortable is that? Thank you for your understanding. You're really too polite. Jing Yin had explained the issue beforehand, so that Su Yihong would not have a chance to take advantage of it. Of course, Su Yihong had left the banquet not because of the explosion, but because he had sent someone to investigate how Jing Yin had been living in the Sheng family over the years. Fenger, just go to the Sheng family and take care of your affairs. Tell me if you need anything. And when we get to Jianchuan, we'll directly announce your identity and bring you back to the Su family. Moreover, we could give the Sheng family some compensation to thank them for their years of nurturing you. That was the most appropriate attitude parents should have towards their children. Jing Yin replied to his parents at that. I can repay the Sheng family myself. Old Sheng now saw him as a thorn in his side, and anyone who saw him would probably want to chop him into minced meat. Would he still dare to face the old man under such circumstances? Of course. He would bravely appear before the old man for Sheng Minglan's sake. Sheng Xiao was right next door. Naturally, he was not interested in the family's conversation. Still, he was curious about the relationship between Su Yihong and his eldest uncle. The impostor had said that the two had met in private. If that was the case, they must be connected to each other to some extent. Meanwhile, Su Yihong had certainly found a perfect excuse to leave the hotel, because he felt uncomfortable even looking at Jing Yin for a second longer. Soon, he had someone investigate everything about Jing Yin in the Sheng family. After all, Jing Yin was now hated by the old man, and it would be much easier for him to be investigated. That was why Su Yihong easily understood why Jing Yin was in a hurry to return to the Su family. When the Su couple returned home that night, they found Su Yihong waiting in the living room and went up to him. You have something to say to us? Dad, Mom, there's something I don't know if I should say. Su Yihong pretended to be troubled. Tell me, it's about your brother. A woman's intuition had always been accurate. I know you're happy to have found Yifeng, and I'm thrilled as your eldest brother. Still, I've investigated Yifeng for your safety, and found out that he has been working as an assistant to the Crown Prince of Huang Yao over the years. The Sheng family seems to be looking for him, thinking that he has eloped with the young lady of the Sheng family. Don't blame me for being paranoid, Mom and Dad. I just think it's too much of a coincidence, isn't it? What are you trying to say? Papa Su's face darkened at once. Is he trying to use the Su family to help him marry fourth sister? Dad, I know it's only right since he's a member of the Su family, but I really can't feel at ease if he really came home with ulterior motives. What do you think, Mom? Mama Su looked at Su Yihong as a stranger at those words. Yihong, are you hoping that your brother won't come home? Mom, I'm just afraid that you'll be fooled again. But the DNA test results are out. It's your brother, and he looks exactly like your father when he was young. He's a member of the Su family in every sense of the word. Mama Su told Su Yihong seriously. Your brother has suffered and been tired for so many years. And yet you, as his elder brother, did not help him find the culprit who abandoned him, and even accuse him of having ulterior motives. Mom, he's already explained it to us if you're worried about that. With that, Mama Sue returned to her room. I'm tired. I want to rest. Su Yihong felt a chill inside. He did not expect Jing Yun to be so vigilant. He had already explained the matter to his parents, and yet he still tried to sow discord. It served him right to be scolded by his mother. It seems that he really should not underestimate Jing Yun. Still, he could sit still right now, but he would never expect that Sheng Xiao would be peeling his skin off behind his back. Chapter 348. But what about his motive? Was he simply afraid that his brother would steal what belonged to him? That reason was so thin that it was not enough for him to take such a risk. Soon, Jing Yun's men had some idea as well. Su Yihong's first half of his life had been too outstanding and ordinary, and he had never stirred up a storm for Jing Yun. It was as if everything about him was under Jing Yun's control. The only suspicious point was the relationship between Su Yihong and his eldest uncle. Young master, what do you think about this? Since we can't find the answer by following it, let's think in reverse and make a few hypotheses. Sheng Xiao said to Jing Yun as he sipped his coffee. Let's say that there was a deal between your eldest brother and your eldest uncle. That means that you were abandoned by one of them. When your mother brought you to the airport where all kinds of people are mixed up, one of them took you away when your mother wasn't paying attention and sent you to Jinshuan to be abandoned. If that's the case, the fault lies with your mother. At the time, your father was fully on his guard against your eldest uncle, which was why the chances of him doing anything were minuscule. In other words, your father and your eldest uncle were fighting for control, and if your eldest uncle really wanted to do something like that, he would have captured you and your mother to threaten your father instead of sending you away. Moreover, your eldest brother had gone to the Su family's mansion on the island the day before it happened. Who would have the chance now? Jing Yun's eyes became very deep at Sheng Xiao's analysis. The answer lies with your eldest brother. Is he really afraid that you would share everything with the Su family, or is there another reason? Still, since you have returned to the Su family, it is only a matter of time before he makes his next move. Sheng Xiao raised a brow. He would interfere with your parents' search for the culprit many years ago, and as long as you remain clear-headed, the truth would come to light sooner or later. I understand. It's fortunate that your parents are wise enough. With that being the case, we can return home. Sheng Xiao smiled. Have the Su family move to Jinshuan as soon as possible. That way, you could have your men continue searching for clues here, and Jinshuan is our world. Your eldest brother would have to ask me if he really wants to do anything to you again. Sheng Minglan listened to Sheng Xiao's analysis and couldn't help praising Sheng Xiao. We're all from the Sheng family. Why are you so smart with that brain of yours? You ask me? Who should I ask? Sheng Xiao smiled playfully. It's going to be another bloodbath if we return to the Sheng family now. Who told you to like him? Sheng Xiao asked in return, pointing at Jing Yun with his chin. It couldn't be helped. It was fate, and Sheng Minglan could only resign herself to fate when she met Jing Yun. Late at night, the Su family, Su Yihong, felt that he had really underestimated Jing Yun's ability. Don't forget who Jing Yun was with, the crown prince of Huangyao. Who in the country didn't know what kind of person he was? How could Sheng Xiao's subordinates be bad? Therefore, the move he made at night was indeed careless, and now it made his parents unhappy. Fortunately, he was just unhappy. If he could throw Jing Yun away once, he could do it again. He couldn't let Jing Yun remember everything. It would be too late if that happened. Then he dialed a familiar number, but he didn't save the name. Hello. Mom and Dad have found third brother. They're investigating why he was abandoned at Jinshuan all those years ago. Su Yihong told the person on the other end. Let them. They wouldn't find any evidence, unless that brat remembers it himself. Otherwise, they can't do anything if you deny it. The person on the other end replied. Most importantly, don't let them find out who you are. Of course I know how to take precautions. Su Yihong replied. But you have to create some distractions to confuse them. Don't worry about that. I'll slowly look for a chance. Looks like I have to earn my brother's trust first. Su Yihong was a good thinker, which was why he told his mother the next morning. Mom, I was overthinking last night. I shouldn't have doubted Yifeng like that. He's been out there all these years, and who knows how much suffering and mockery he's endured. Even if I have to give up my life today, I should make it up to him. It's good that you know. Well, why don't you and Dad go with Yifeng to Jianchuan? The house there is already prepared anyway. And you could visit Yifeng when he goes to the Sheng family, as a way to thank the Sheng family. While you're at it, you could also announce Yifeng's identity in front of the Sheng family. That way, Yifeng would be able to hold his head up high in the Sheng family. What do you think? Mama Su found that reasonable at that. We'll do as you say. Yihong, you have to take good care of your brother from now on. Don't worry. I'll take good care of Yifeng. Since Yifeng is returning to Jianchuan in the afternoon, we might as well not tell him. We'll give him a surprise and go straight to the Sheng family. That works. Su Yihong nodded. That way, old Sheng would be caught off guard. Humph. Even if the Sheng family had nurtured Jing Yin, whose son were they looking down on? Mama Su was very protective of her son. Mama Su told Papa Su about the matter, who agreed wholeheartedly. Well, we'll make it public when we get to Jianchuan. Who cares about the Sheng family, or Huang Yao? What's so bad about the Su family? Jing Yin was not aware of his parents' plans. Meanwhile, the quartet were already on their way back to Jianchuan. Jing Yin intended to bring Sheng Minglan to Old Sheng and lay all his cards on the table. Of course, he did not intend to use his parents' name to beg for the old man's forgiveness. After all, what if he was not lucky enough to reunite with his parents? No matter what the consequences were, he could bear it. Even if the old man said or did something ugly. Sheng Minglan could guess what Jing Yin was thinking, and so tighten her grip on his hand. Sometimes I don't know if you're a stickler for the rules or stubborn. Either way, the chairman would find out sooner or later. Let him accumulate some embarrassment first, and it would be much easier for old Master Sheng to agree to the marriage later. That was Jing Yun's little plan, and he told no one about it. Seeing that the two were on high alert, Mu Qiqi smiled, leaning over Sheng Zhao's body. I wonder what a good show the Sheng family would have tonight. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Su had boarded the plane earlier than Sheng Xiao and the others, so that they wouldn't miss their visit to the Sheng family. Why don't you guess? Sheng Xiao pinched the tip of Mu Qiqi's nose. Chapter 349. Once the quartet's flight reached Jianchuan, old Sheng's men at the airport went up to Sheng Minglan and caught her. I'm sorry, fourth sister. Sheng Minglan stared at Jing Yin in shock. Jing Yin wasn't any better. Two security guards came up to him and held him down, ready to bring both of them back to Sheng Mansion. Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi were right behind them, but Sheng Xiao did not interfere. It's obvious how angry the old man is. Will Jing Yin be fine? Will the old man eat him? With that, Sheng Xiao led Mu Qiqi to the airport parking lot and drove his sports car back to Sheng Mansion. When the old man learned that they were caught at the airport, he had the entire Sheng family return home early to see how this family scandal would be dealt with. Soon, the two were brought back to Sheng Mansion. Almost everyone in the Sheng family was there, including Mama Sheng, who had just returned from Huang Yao without delay. After all, it was a matter of two children. The old man was sitting at the main seat in the living room. He promptly closed his eyes and took a deep breath when he saw Sheng Minglan and Sheng Xiao being brought into the living room, as if trying hard to control himself. You still remember to come back, the old man said meaningfully, before opening his eyes to look at them. Come here, fourth sister. Sheng Minglan looked at the old man, and then at Jing Yin. Her heart was filled with fear. But she had promised Jing Yin that she would never surrender to the old man. That was why even if she hesitated for a moment, she still slowly approached the old man. The old man cocked his head and rose to look at her. But before he could say anything, a slap flew towards her. That was when Jing Yin stepped forward, and the old man's slap landed on his head, startling Sheng Minglan and every other member of the Sheng family. Jing Yin, I'm fine. Jing Yin's ears were ringing from the force of the slap, and one could imagine how much strength the old man had used. You're just a watchdog of the Sheng family. What right do you have to take a slap for the young lady of the Sheng family? Grandfather. Sheng Minglan quickly stepped in front of the old man. Get out of my way. Grandpa Sheng pushed her away. I don't have a shameless granddaughter like you. What's the difference between you and seventh sister? It's just that they're all willful and impulsive. Jingyan did not retort at all. He simply reached out to hold Sheng Minglan, because she almost fell because of Grandpa Sheng's strength. It's me who likes Miss Minoru. This has nothing to do with her. Chairman, if you want to cause trouble, come at me. The old man's face and ears were red. It was obvious that he was furious to the extreme, which was why he paced around the living room. Jingyan, tell me, how ungrateful can you be? The Sheng family took you in, raised you, and groomed you. Is this how you repay me? Who are you? Don't you know what's going on? I'll tell you clearly today that the women of the Sheng family will only marry rich men. They would never marry someone like you. Even if you can't bear to part with each other, even if you already have a child, you must abort it. I will never let any random person enter the Sheng family's territory. Jingyun, do you know how disgusting you are? What has the Sheng family not treated you well? Why would you bite the hand that fed you? Jingyun said nothing. He simply endured it in silence. Sheng Minglan could not listen to it anymore. She walked up to Jingyun and told the old man, You're just my grandfather. What right do you have to interfere with my life? I can be with whoever I want. What right do you have to interfere? Because I'm your grandfather. Because I raised you. If I wasn't born into the Sheng family, do you think I would want to stay in this hell? Are you satisfied if everyone lives like they're in prison? Sheng Minglan questioned the old man loudly. Do you think I care about you raising me? I just didn't have a choice. Sheng Minglan. You look down on Mu Qiqi and Jingyun. Do you know that you're the one we all look down on the most? Grandfather, you interfere with our children's freedom and arrange our marriages. Do you know that the Sheng family has suffered so many tragedies because of a dictator like you? I'll kill you. The old man was utterly infuriated. He walked up and tried to hit Sheng Minglan with his crutch, but Jingyun caught him. Chairman. The old man glared at Jingyun with bloodshot eyes, and then at Sheng Minglan who was behind him. Finally he put down his crutch. No matter how much you hate me, I'm your grandfather. That will never change. And since I'm your grandfather, I won't allow you to mess around outside. From today onwards, stay at home and never leave. I'll send someone to watch over you and follow you until you marry someone I'm satisfied with. As for him, what do you want to do to him? Sheng Zhao's voice reached everyone's ears from the door. The old man turned to look at Sheng Xiao and promptly swung his crutch at him. Sheng Xiao dodged it and sat down with Mu Qiqi. Did I miss a good show? You can't protect your dog even if you come back. The old man snorted coldly. Why do I feel that this dog of mine is much better than your good-for-nothing dog? Sheng Xiao retorted. You can look down on Jingyun, but he doesn't owe you anything. You know very well how much Jingyun has done for Huang Yao over the years, and you're just bullying him because he's not good with words. Eighth brother, why are you still meddling in fourth sister's affairs when you found yourself a bride? Second uncle was naturally displeased with Sheng Zhao's actions. She was his daughter after all, and although he had neither the right nor the right to control her, she was his daughter after all. I don't want to, but can you, second uncle? Sheng Zhao's retort left second uncle speechless. That's why you're more guilty than those two, the old man said, pointing at Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao was not annoyed, and simply held his little one's hand, looking as if he was never afraid of anyone. So, what do you plan to do with those two? I'll find another suitable candidate and marry your fourth sister to him. And then this person, the old man pointed at Jingyun, his words as humiliating as he could. I'll make sure he has no place in Jianchuan. How dare he seduce the granddaughter of the Sheng family? I'll make sure he dies a horrible death. He won't have no place to stay. He could stay in Jingting however he wants. Sheng Xiao quickly answered with a smile. That's why your threats are meaningless. Chapter 350. Jingyun did not speak for a long time. But at that moment, he finally spoke with a very sincere tone. Chairman, Miss Minglan and I are in love with each other. I know that you feel humiliated by my identity and status. What we have done is very hurtful to you. But Minglan is an independent person with a complete personality. Even if you could lock her up for a while, you can't lock her up forever. As for me, you look down on me now because I have nothing. I have nothing to say, but I can't be poor for the rest of my life. I can do many things for Minglan, including building a new business empire for her. You? The old man couldn't help sneering. You dare boast like that with your background? I have no background, but chairman, the ancestors of Huang Yao had built this empire bit by bit. Moreover, you should know very well how capable I am after so many years. I really can. A beggar is a beggar. So what if you are capable? There are millions of capable people in this world. Do you think I would agree to every one of them marrying Minglan? The old man sneered. You're right. I do look down on you, but it's not just because you have nothing and no background, but also because you're an ingrate and a traitor. How could the Sheng family tolerate a stain like you? Chairman, that's enough. Don't even think about saying sweet nothings to me. I will never agree to you being with fourth sister. Today, you stood here and took a slap for fourth sister. You didn't act like a coward, and didn't dare to admit what you did. I respect that you have some backbone. However, if you come into contact with Minglan again, I will definitely cripple you. Tisk tisk. Sheng Xiao clicked his tongue, before laughing at the old man. Don't be so hasty. What if you missed out on a golden bachelor? Eighth brother, I'm going to punish Jing Yin even if you're here today. Do whatever you want as long as you don't regret it. Sheng Xiao mocked. I don't believe you could eat him. I can't eat him, but I can dismember his limbs. He's just a stray dog. Everyone was stunned at those words. While the Sheng family had always been insufferably arrogant, they had never humiliated and trampled on others like this. Furthermore, it was harming someone else's body. This was retribution. Sheng Minglan looked worriedly at Jing Yin, who blinked and reassured her. Sheng Minglan covered her face and sobbed in a corner. She really hated the Sheng family and Grandpa Sheng's control. If you dare touch Jing Yin, just wait for my corpse tomorrow. Sheng Minglan threatened the old man. I won't let him go even if you threaten me this time. Jing Yin, you go first. Sheng Xiao no longer had the patience to continue arguing with the old man, and so told Jing Yin, I promise you that the old man will send fourth sister to you in no time at all, begging you to stay with the Sheng family. Jing Yin looked at Sheng Xiao, and then at Sheng Minglan. Sheng Minglan also wanted him to leave. Go first. I promise you that I will take care of myself. But I want to take you away. Jing Yin. Sheng Xiao's hint was clear. Jing Yin must leave now. Arguing with the old man would only worsen the conflict. One could imagine that Jing Yin would never get past the old man, if he wasn't a member of the Su family. It was Sheng Xiao's last test for the old man. And he no longer held any hope in the old man, when he saw how the old man was behaving. Don't even think about leaving. Go. Sheng Xiao shouted at once. Could the old man do anything to Sheng Xiao? No. Anyone who stops Jing Yin today will go home and eat themselves. If you're afraid of being fired by the old man, and won't listen to my orders, just wait for my retribution. I believe it would be carved into your bones. Sheng Xiao was threatening the security guards and servants. At this moment, the servants were in a dilemma. The others did not even dare to breathe too loudly, and the atmosphere was tense and stiff. In the end, Jing Yin looked at Sheng Minglan and said, Wait for me. He understood then that authority and status were so important. If he didn't have a trump card, he wouldn't have been able to take Sheng Minglan away even if he died here. All of them knew how disgusting old Sheng could be. Mama Sheng couldn't help sneering at the sight. To think that there's such a grandfather in this world. What a surprise. I'll definitely wait for you, Sheng Minglan told Jing Yin. Then, Jing Yin bowed 3 times at the old man before leaving the living room. The old man couldn't do anything to him, because Sheng Xiao was protecting him with everything he had. That's how you pushed your fourth sister into a pit of fire. That's how you are a traitor. Don't think that I can't do anything to him if he walks out the door. Of course you can trouble him in private, but I'm sure you won't be able to soon, because you're so snobbish. Just as Sheng Xiao finished, the butler rushed in from outside and told the old man, Master, it's a visiting card from Su Holdings. The couple said that they're here to thank you. The old man took the card and saw that it was from a major family, and asked the butler, "Where are they?" "Outside. Please come in." Su Holdings had seen Jing Yun being brought to the Sheng residence, but had stayed outside the door all along and did not enter. When they saw Jing Yun walk out of the house, they knew that their son had been wronged. Of course, they didn't go up to comfort him, since everyone had their pride. They could all see how much Jing Yun blamed himself for it. He felt useless, incapable, and had nothing at all. He couldn't snatch Sheng Minglan from the old man's hands. Be that as it may, Sheng Xiao was the only one in the Sheng family who wasn't suppressed by this old man. Who could win against him? Heartbroken, the Su couple hurried to the old man's door to demand justice for their son. Old Sheng simply didn't know why the Su couple would come to thank him. What was there to thank? While the Sheng family was still around, he told them to change their expressions and treat their guests better. Soon, the Su couple entered the living room and greeted the old man politely. "You must be old Mr. Sheng. I've heard so much about you." Old Sheng reined in his rage and became courteous towards them. After all, he had heard of Su Holdings' reputation as well. "May I know what urgent matter brings you to my humble abode?" Chapter 351. May I know who you are referring to, Jing Yun? Mama Su answered the old man with a smile. "He is my third son, Su Yifeng, a long-lost child of the Su family." The Sheng family was left stunned at that. Everyone's eyes widened. How was that possible? It was impossible. "Thank you for your years of nurturing me, old Mr. Sheng," Papa Su said, offering the gift. "I don't know what you like, which is why I've brought this precious item, as a token of my appreciation." The butler took the gift and handed it to the old man, who was left stunned when he saw it. It was a national treasure, and the Su family was giving it to him just like that. Moreover, he did not expect that Jing Yun was the third son of the Su family, and a descendant of a noble family. Even so, the scene of him humiliating Jing Yun had just played out here. And now Jing Yun's parents were here. How ironic. Everyone in the Sheng family was stunned, save for those who knew about it. The old man could only feel a sense of humiliation and indignation filling his entire body. He never thought that Jing Yun had such a background, and yet he— "Thank you, you two. Actually, Jing Yun is sensible, capable, and very likable." The sound of slaps on the face could be clearly heard in the large living room. The old man was actually boasting shamelessly, calling Su Yifeng a stray dog just moments ago, and calling him a lunatic. And yet, in just a moment, his choice of words had changed dramatically. How laughable. "That's right. It took us a long time to find our son, and we want to give him the best things in the world. That's why Huang Yao might have to groom a new assistant, and Feng would return to inherit the family business," Mama Su deliberately said in front of the old man. "That would be a great loss for Huang Yao." Mama Su laughed, but noticed that Sheng Minglan's eyes were red, and waved at fourth sister. "What's wrong, fourth sister? Why are your eyes so red?" "She's just a kid who likes to cause trouble, so I've scolded her a little. Feng likes that kid and so do we. I just don't know if old Mr. Sheng would agree to it." The Su family was a renowned family in the medical field. Unless Elder Su's brain was damaged, he wouldn't agree to it. However, considering the situation just now, his words were a different story. "Auntie, to tell you the truth, Jing Yun was bullied quite badly just now." Sheng Minglan seized the chance to tell Mama Su. Grandpa thought that Jing Yun had no background and was poor, so he humiliated him and disagreed with us being together. Mama Su's expression changed at that, and she turned to old Sheng. "Old Mr. Y. I didn't know Jing Yun's identity, I thought. It's said that one shouldn't bully a young man for being poor. Shouldn't an old man look at the young man in the long term?" Papa Su promptly cut old Sheng short. "And here I thought that Feng would tell you that he is the young master of the Su family." "So he didn't. Since the Su family is indebted to you, old mister, we won't hold it against you. Still, Feng is the third young master of the Su family from now on, and naturally wouldn't return to the Sheng family. Of course. As for Minglan, I really like her, but I can see that you really don't want her to be with our Feng. That's why we shouldn't force it," Mama Su said deliberately. I'm really sorry for bothering you today. Old Sheng's expression was awkward, even angry. After all, he was humiliating someone else's child just a second ago. And the next second, someone else's parents came to him. Moreover, Jingyun was no stray dog, but the third young master of the Su family. Butler, see our guests out. The old man did not keep the Su couple. How could he? Oh, by the way, we'll announce that Feng has returned to the Su family. We'll invite guests when the time comes. And we hope that you would do us the honor of coming, old Mr. Sheng. Of course, the old man said with a sheepish smile. After that, the Su couple left, and the old man turned to Sheng Xiao again. You did it on purpose. You knew about this all along, didn't you? So what? Sheng Xiao retorted. You've always despised the poor and loved the rich. If I don't leave a deep impression on you, how would you know that there's a saying in this world? Don't bully the poor when you're young. You can humiliate Jingyun all you want. It's fine. After all, he has all the ways to make trouble for you and take his revenge after he inherits the Su family's business. Unless you're not sick. The old man clutched his chest in frustration and stumbled a few steps back. The Su family is moving to Jianchuan soon. It's fine if you don't agree to fourth sister and Jingyun being together. They would still be together anyway, and it just depends on whether you want to be bullied or thanked. The old man closed his eyes, clearly sensing Sheng Zhao's threat. If the old man did not let Xing Minglan go, it would be the Sheng family who would suffer when Jingyun took his revenge. Take your time to think about it. Sheng Xiao glanced at the old man before turning to Mama Sheng. Both mother and son shared a look, with a tacit understanding between them. After a while, the old man closed his eyes and told Sheng Minglan, Go fourth sister. What else could he do? When Jingyun tried everything he could to persuade him, the old man refused and wanted to humiliate him. But now that he knew who Jingyun was, he could only admit defeat and appease him. Wasn't that despicable? Sheng Minglan glanced at the old man and promptly ran out of the Sheng residence. The old man knew very well how much she hated the old man. His granddaughter was gone. Be that as it may, he did not lose anything by marrying into the Su family in name. Still, he was not sure if Jingyun would hold a grudge for what happened today. Let's go. We've had enough drama. The old man was exhausted. Eighth brother, you really want to see me die? If you're a good grandfather, everyone wants you to live to 100 years old. At those words, the old man turned and left the living room. Of course, Sheng Xiao had a new plan in mind after that. It was time to say goodbye to the Sheng family. Otherwise, there was no guarantee that he and Xiao Qi'er would not face such a scene one day. He knew very well what the old man was planning. It's treacherous to toy with your grandfather like that. Mama Sheng criticized Sheng Xiao afterward. Still, I have to say that Jingyun is really patient. He didn't even use his status as a bargaining chip under such circumstances. He's too stupid. He thought that the old man would have a hint of mercy, and that his sincerity could move the old man. Your grandfather is actually quite pitiful. Mama Sheng couldn't help sighing at that. It's funny. He was humiliating Jingyun just a second ago, and then, it's really ironic how his faction behaves. Chapter 352. Jingyun wouldn't be feeling much better right now. Mu Qiqi sighed beside them. The old man had humiliated him and embarrassed him so much. How much tolerance did he have to endure to forgive the old man's actions today? Even if Jingyun was best at tolerance, Mama Sheng turned to look at Mu Qiqi. Mama Sheng tilted her head and looked at Mu Qiqi. This child was becoming more and more mature. She was no longer the little girl she first met. Thinking about their future, Mama Sheng said to Sheng Xiao, Do whatever you want to do. I don't want Mu Qiqi to have to endure such humiliation. I can't explain it to the Shen family. Sheng Xiao's gaze was as sharp as an eagle's. Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, he tightened his grip. Thanks, Mom. Let's go home. Both of them left the Sheng family and returned to Jingting. Right now, Mu Qiqi was only concerned about Sheng Minglan and whether she could find Jingyun. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Su were venting for their son, and to let everyone know who he was, they proposed a grand banquet to reintroduce him in front of everyone. As for Jingyun, he was sitting in his car, calming himself. After sitting by the seaside for a long time, he drove home. But when he opened the door, he found Sheng Minglan throwing herself at him tearfully. I thought you didn't want me anymore. Jingyan took a deep breath in resignation and hugged Sheng Minglan. I would have done it long ago if I could. Jingyan, what Grandpa said to hurt you? You wouldn't believe me if I said I didn't mind. I need time. Sheng Minglan nodded tearfully, peeking out of Jingyan's arms and holding his hand tightly. Grandpa won't interfere with us anymore. He won't interfere in the future either. Jingyan said nothing and simply held Sheng Minglan in his arms again. It was all thanks to the Su family that they could achieve their goals. That was why Jingyan felt that he owed Sheng Minglan. He promised her but couldn't bring her away. And if not for the Su family, his head would have been separated from his body. It took them a long time to calm down. It was only when Jingyan received a call from his parents that night. Jingyan drove Sheng Minglan back to the Su family's new manor in Jianchuan. His identity had officially changed now. Fomer, I'm fine. Jingyan comforted the two elders. I didn't think that you would come in time. It was your brother who suggested that we help you vent your anger. No matter what, you're home now. No one would dare to bully you from now on. Mama Su explained to Jingyan before pulling them to sit down. Su Yihong sneered as he looked at the family downstairs. No one bullied them. He was the first to bully Jingyan. Otherwise, would he have let Jingyan recall the past and expose him in front of his parents? At that thought, Su Yihong went downstairs and told Jingyan, "Third brother, you don't have to be an assistant to the Sheng family anymore. You should return to the Su family and help your brother with the family business. I don't understand medicine, nor do I understand equipment. You can learn if you don't understand." Su Yihong clapped his hand on Jingyan's shoulder. You're so smart, and would definitely learn it quickly. Still, you've fallen out with the Sheng family. What do you plan to do, fourth miss? Since you still intend to be with fourth miss, then you can't forget about the necessary etiquette. I'll go to the Sheng family to ask for her hand in marriage in the future. Jingyan said composedly. Good. Mama Su nodded. Although she did not like the old man of the Sheng family, she was satisfied with Sheng Minglan as her daughter-in-law. Still, they would have to avoid unnecessary contact with the Sheng family. Don't leave tonight since you're back. Papa Su urged Jingyan and Sheng Minglan to stay. Your brother has prepared a room for you. Jingyan turned to Su Yihong and thanked him. Thank you, brother. Be that as it may, there was a hint of wariness. We're family. No need to be so polite. Su Yihong had changed his strategy and acted like a good brother. But the truth was that he wanted to gain their trust and drive a wedge between Jingyan and their parents. Was he going to take Jingyan's life otherwise? Jingyan glanced at Su Yihong out of the corner of his eye before holding Sheng Minglan's hand tightly. It was only when they were alone in the room that he had Sheng Minglan sit on the edge of the bed while he knelt on one knee. I'm useless. I can't rely on myself to take you away from the chairman, and I can't really make him acknowledge me. Jingyan, you've done enough. Sheng Minglan said, stroking his face. I know what kind of person grandfather is. That attitude of yours is the greatest affirmation for me. There's still a long way to go. One day, grandfather would sincerely show goodwill to you. Jingyan had gone through all that and was still burdened with hatred. He should have been resentful after being humiliated by the old man. But he had none. From now on, I'll be wherever you are. I'll never be separated from you. Jingyan nodded, and the two of them hugged each other tightly. Although they took such a big detour, at least the two of them could finally be together without any obstacles. Still, are you really leaving eighth brother to join Su Holdings? Yes. Jingyan nodded. I want to protect you. On this day, Sheng Xiao knew very well that his assistant was really leaving his side. Still, it was not a pressing matter. You can't bear to lose your assistant. Mu Qiqi teased Sheng Xiao when she saw him reading the documents from Huang Yao's HR department. You're treating them like a beauty pageant. Is there anyone you like? It's just a bunch of good-for-nothings. It's impossible to find someone like Jingyan, so I'll just make do with one. With that, Sheng Xiao picked up his glasses from the bedside table and put them on. It was the first time Mu Qiqi saw Sheng Xiao wearing glasses. A good-looking person would naturally look good in everything, and glasses were a plus. Xiao Xiao, do you think Jing Yun would change when he returns to the Su family? Sheng Zhao's gaze was sharp as he looked down at Mu Qiqi teasingly. Why are you so emotional all of a sudden? I just feel like I'll lose Jing Yun. Sheng Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's cheek and put down the documents in his hand, patting her butt. Go to sleep. Aren't you going to observe with your mentor tomorrow? Got it. Mu Qiqi lay in Sheng Zhao's arms and closed her eyes. I can't help you with anything. You would definitely feel worse facing the old man than Jing Yun. Sheng Xiao said nothing, and merely lowered his head to kiss Mu Qiqi's forehead. You don't know, but you would be the greatest help to me as long as you insist on being yourself. I don't need you to compromise with anyone or anything. Chapter 353. As a matter of fact, Sheng Xiao did not just want an assistant. He also wanted someone who could take on the responsibility to manage Huang Yao. His father might have some tricks up his sleeve, but he lacked charisma. Still, only third brother and fifth brother were doing things in the Sheng family. The other uncles were doing things on their own, and did not treat Huang Yao as a family matter at all. There was also another reason. They were used to being oppressed by the old man. And what was he thinking? He was looking for his father-in-law, Shen Jianchuan, to prepare a path of retreat for him and his little one. It was late at night, and Jianchuan was freezing in the harsh winter. But the old man was sitting stiffly in his study, and did not step out for the entire day. He felt humiliated when he recalled what happened with Jing Yun. Why did Jing Yun have to be a descendant of the Su family? More terrifyingly, he would have to change his attitude and treat Jing Yun politely if he came to the Sheng family after what he had done to humiliate him. That was really embarrassing for him. The old man sighed, but soon received a call from the Gu family, who suggested a meeting with the old man to discuss the matter between Sheng Xiao and Miss Gu in detail. The old man nodded, feeling that there was no time to waste. Otherwise, Sheng Zhao's arrogance would become more and more difficult to suppress. Let's do it this weekend. We'll plan it then. The other party agreed to his suggestion and hung up. Once Miss Gu agreed to marry into the Sheng family, the old man would immediately find a reason for her to join the Sheng family and familiarize herself with the family. The next day, Mu Qiqi went to school early in the morning. She found her tutor and followed her to the criminal investigation unit. It was said that they had found a corpse with a heavy taste yesterday, and that they would conduct an autopsy today to determine the identity and time of death. Although Mu Qiqi had seen the corpse several times, it was always acceptable. But this time, it was said that the corpse had turned into a giant. And the so-called giant meant that the corpse was so badly decomposed that it had expanded, making it look like a giant. Of course, it was so disgusting that its eyeballs were squeezed out of its face. It was so rotten that anyone who saw it wouldn't stop vomiting. Even Mu Qiqi, who was usually calm, threw up by the pool when she saw it. The few senior brothers had vomited a few times and were comforting each other. Look at you. You're such a good wife of a rich family. Why are you so stubborn and willing to suffer with us? Mu Qiqi perked up, but when she turned to look at the corpse, she vomited again. Seeing this, the tutor finally smiled. Seeing how calm you were previously, I really thought that your mental fortitude was really strong. I didn't expect. It's fine. I'll be fine after vomiting. Mu Qiqi rinsed her mouth and wiped her mouth. Then, she continued listening to the forensic analysis. Fortunately, when his gaze was focused on a specific area, it wasn't so uncomfortable. Still, Mu Qiqi did not look too good when she vomited like that. There was no telling how Sheng Xiao would feel when he saw that. That morning, Sheng Xiao did not arrive at Huang Yao on time. He did not bring Mu Qiqi with him, and went to the Shuns on his own. When Huang Yu saw that, she thought that Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi had a conflict. She quickly went to Grandpa Sheng, but Sheng Xiao explained, Xiao Qi, has always been the one bullying me. When did I not spoil her? It's hard to say. Huang Yu was not easy to fool. How intelligent was Sheng Xiao? Was there anyone in Jianchuan who did not know? Sheng Xiao smiled and went to Grandpa Shen's fish pond. However, the old man was not there today. He had gone to visit his comrades, and only Shen Jianchuan was there. Looking for Grandpa? For you, Sheng Xiao said, leaning against a wooden pillar in the pavilion. I don't think I have any reason to refuse what you suggested before. Are you sure you don't even want your status as the crown prince? Shen Jianchuan asked in return. In fact, he had already guessed that Huang Yao was not a cage that would imprison Sheng Xiao given his personality. I just want to give Qi a clean future, Sheng Xiao replied, looking at Shen Jianchuan. But I have to prepare first, and Huang Yao needs to deal with the aftermath. If your grandfather knows that you want to start your own business with me, do you think he would have a heart attack? Father-in-law, don't be so sarcastic. Sheng Xiao was displeased. I have a document with me. Take a look at it. Combining the connections and status the Shen family has accumulated over the years, as well as your expertise, I think this line of work is the most suitable for us. Incidentally, there are 2 military enterprises that are about to close in the suburbs of Jianchuan. Buying them would not be a problem. Sheng Xiao was intrigued. Do you want to see my ability to negotiate a partnership? Shen Jianchuan shrugged. Deal with the aftermath well. We can't let the old man hate us. That depends on him. Sheng Xiao's meaning was self-evident. If the old man showed restraint, he would do his best to bring Huang Yao to new heights before handing it over to the Sheng family. But if the old man became even worse, not even the gods could hold back. Don't let Xiao Qi know about this for now. She has a soft heart, and would easily feel guilty towards the old man. I will arrange everything properly. Shen Jianchuan certainly had no reason to doubt Sheng Xiao's ability. With the two of them together, there would be another storm. Sheng Xiao planned to take care of both sides, and naturally would not let anyone know that he and Shen Jianchuan were up to something else. He knew all too well that Qi would have more and more freedom as he climbed higher and higher. In the end, the two men were only doing it to protect the person most important to them. In the afternoon at the Su residence, while Sheng Minglan was napping in her room, Mama Su called Jingyin to a corner and told him, since you're living with Minglan, you should settle things as soon as possible, so that outsiders wouldn't gossip. You should settle things with Minglan now that your identity has been revealed. But before that, you have to go to the Sheng family to propose marriage. I know, Mother. I'll prepare a gift for you. Bring more people with you when the time comes. And don't lose face as the young master of the Su family. Mama Su was actually afraid that Jing Yin would be bullied by the Sheng family again. Incidentally, I have some matters to settle with the Sheng family. Don't go overboard for Minglan's sake. Just know your limits. Jing Yin nodded. At the very least, he had to go to Jingting and hand over everything. Chapter 354. Mu Qiqi's complexion was terrible when she reached home. Her stomach had been emptied, so how could she be spirited? She had thought that her complexion would improve if she rested while Sheng Xiao was not home. But how could she have known that Sheng Xiao did not go to Huang Yao today? Sheng Xiao's face fell when he saw Mu Qiqi's pale little face. Come here. No, I really stink today more than ever before. Mu Qiqi refused and hugged herself. I'm going to take a shower. The perfume specially made for you has been delivered to the house. It's in the bathroom, but come here first. Sheng Xiao called out to her patiently. Helpless, Mu Qiqi could only walk to Sheng Xiao and sit beside him. Sheng Xiao pulled her into his arms, cupped her face and studied it carefully. Vomiting? Yeah. Mu Qiqi nodded, and suddenly went limp in Sheng Xiao's arms. It's disgusting. It's a male corpse today, and it's been more than 20 days since he died. The degree of decomposition is already colossal. Little one. Sheng Xiao's heart ached. He knew what a forensic doctor's job was, and what they had to face. Such vomiting was a common occurrence, and there was no telling how long it would take for the little one to really adapt. Could it be that he would have to see her vomiting so pale every day? Sheng Xiao hugged his little one for a while, before patting her head. Go take a shower. I'll have Aunt Wu make you something good for your stomach. But there should be a smell on your body. Sheng Xiao did not allow her to argue, and simply put down the documents and picked Mu Qiqi up. Both of them went to the bathroom and soaked in the water. Fortunately, the specially made perfume made Mu Qiqi feel much better. What good stuff. Wouldn't it be great if forensic doctors could enjoy it? You ungrateful little one. Do you know how expensive one bottle is? Sheng Xiao could not help poking her nose. The happiness of the rich is truly unimaginable. Mu Qiqi sighed as she lay in the water. Since Mu Qiqi's stomach was empty, Sheng Xiao did not let her keep soaking in the water, and simply wrapped her up in a towel before carrying her to the bed. Why didn't you go to Huang Yao today? I'm waiting for Jingyan to come. He's the young master of the Su family now. There's no need for him to enter Huang Yao personally. It sounds a little businesslike. How can there be someone who stays the same? The environment will change, and you have to learn to accept it. Hadn't Mu Qiqi accepted enough along the way? Now that she was the granddaughter of the Shen family and Sheng Zhao's fiancé, she also had her own responsibilities. She had never really treated herself as a crystal in Sheng Zhao's palm that would shatter at the slightest touch. Then, there shouldn't be any problems with fourth sister and Jing Yun's marriage. After a while, Aunt Wu told them outside the door. Young master, young madam, special assistant Jing is here. Dry it yourself. It has to be completely dry. Sheng Xiao put the hairdryer in Mu Qiqi's hand and changed into a clean set of clothes before heading downstairs. When Jing Yun arrived at Jingting, he was carrying a lot of documents. Apart from the ones Sheng Xiao had to read, the rest were handled by Jing Yun. Young master, Huang Yao has already suspended me from my duties, so there's no need to go through the formalities. You're still calling me young master? Sheng Xiao found the documents amusing. You're a disciple of a noble family now. You don't have to lower yourself. To me, you'll always be my young master. Jing Yun maintained his humble attitude towards Sheng Xiao. When are you going to tell me about fourth sister? In 2 days, I'll go to the Sheng family to ask for her hand in marriage. Jing Yun replied. When the time comes, I'll marry Minglan openly. The old man doesn't have time to care about you too, because this outcome isn't too bad for him. Still, you'd better straighten your posture. You're not the one begging him now. Sheng Xiao said lazily. I understand. I really shouldn't have sent sixth brother away. Let him open his eyes. At that thought, Sheng Xiao suddenly had a mischievous idea. Why don't I send him back? There's no need, young master. You have to keep an eye on your brother. He wouldn't let you stay in the Su family for too long, because you're a ticking time bomb to him. Sheng Xiao reminded Jing Yun. I understand. I'm doing everything I can to investigate his relationship with eldest uncle. It would be perfect if I could take off this person's mask during the reunion banquet. Even so, Su Yihong was not that easy to deal with. All right, put it down and go back to work. You have to start anew after joining Su Holdings, and Huang Yao has nothing to do with you anymore. You and the Sheng family owe each other nothing. After all, the Sheng family had raised Jing Yun for so many years. Moreover, he had contributed much to the Sheng family as well, and this exchange was to lighten the burden in his heart. Young master, can we still be like before? What do you want to change? Sheng Xiao raised a brow at him. By the way, treat fourth sister better. Jing Yun nodded and turned to leave Jingting. His current status was no longer what it used to be. Still, when he thought of sixth brother, Sheng Xiao had someone tactfully spread the news that Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan were going to marry each other, even if Jing Yin didn't mind, although he did not tell him Jing Yun's true identity. He even found an excuse to send him back to the country. He just wanted to see how sixth brother would call Jing Yun a dog in front of his face. Meanwhile, when the old man learned that Jing Yun had handed over matters of Huang Yao, he had to accept that Jing Yun was now the young master of the Su family. Soon the weekend came. Since old Sheng had an appointment with the Gu family, he left early in the morning, with no one knowing his whereabouts. It was naturally best for him to be as discreet as possible. What would happen if Sheng Xiao found out? The Gu family sent Miss Gu's mother, and they met in a private room of a hotel. Sharing a glance, they knew that they were on the same wavelength. Old Sheng spoke first. Madam Gu, you must be aware of my eighth brother's current situation. It's unbecoming of him to be obsessed with a teenage girl. Who in Jianchuan doesn't know that? Mama Gu nodded, indicating that she understood what the old man was thinking. That's why we were really surprised when you came to us. To tell you the truth, my Xiling has the same problem. She used to like a poor brat, and for the sake of this man, she almost died. A few days ago, the two of them finally broke up, so I brought up the matter with Xiling. I never thought that she would actually agree. After all, how many young ladies in Jianchuan could resist the crown prince's charm? Chapter 355. It's not that we don't want to, we just have to wait for the right time. That said, I do hope that Miss Gu could join the Sheng family as soon as possible and learn how to manage the family. Old Sheng told Mama Gu politely. As long as old Mr. Sheng could pave the way for Xiling soon, I would do my best to persuade you. That's settled then. The two agreed. As for what old Sheng would come up with to separate Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi, the Gu family would wait and see. Sixth brother had gone all the way to Africa. When he learned that Jing Yin and Sheng Minglan were about to get married, he was left fuming. The young lady of the Sheng family, the great fourth miss, was actually marrying a penniless wretch. He really wanted to know what spell Jing Yin had cast on the old man, that he would agree to the marriage, even though the old man had always valued sectarianism. That was why he really could not hold back, even if Sheng Xiao forbade him from going home. Had his grandfather gone mad? No one had told sixth brother Jing Yin's identity, and no one in Jianchuan was aware that Jing Yin was the third young master of the Su family. Still, when he saw that he had immediately booked a flight home, and remembered his pitiful sister, who had been chased out of the family, why did eighth brother and his dog get to have their wishes fulfilled? Was he not convinced? Meanwhile, Jing Yin's plan to propose marriage to the Sheng family had been settled. Still, he had not thought about how he should behave when he met old Sheng. Meanwhile, the old man was utterly reluctant when he learned that Jing Yin was going to the Sheng family, even if he was not against the marriage between Jing Yin and fourth sister. Even so, he had to make the necessary arrangements. On the night of the next day, the old man had the Sheng family return for a banquet. Soon, Jing Yin arrived with gifts, but he did not come alone this time. He had brought 4 bodyguards. And that was not counting the attendants who had helped him with the gifts. As expected, a person would become completely different once he gained power. Even the way you looked at him would change. Jing Yin is really different now that he's the young master of the Su family. That's right. The 4 bodyguards are clearly stopping the Sheng family from insulting him again. I've seen the gifts too. They're all very valuable. As the Sheng family discussed in private, the old man turned to Jing Yin. Jing Yin was still the same old Jing Yin, cold and aloof. Jing Yin, why didn't you tell us who you were earlier? In this way, the incident on that day would not have happened. It doesn't matter if I'm a member of the Su family or not. I sincerely want to marry Minglan. Jing Yin answered the old man. He had never sat at the guest seat in the Sheng family for so many years. But that's not the same. The old man told Jing Yin honestly. You have to understand how much effort I put in as a grandfather. Minglan is a fine young lady. If I let her marry a bad man, how could I face her parents? So, am I worthy of Minglan now? Jing Yin asked old Sheng in return. That's for sure. The old man replied. Since you've come to propose today, we'll let bygones be bygones. Since you've come, it means that you're determined to marry Minglan. With that being the case, let's sit down and talk about the date of your wedding. But before that, I hope that everyone in Jianchuan knows about you, the young master of the Su family. Jing Yin hated every word that came out of the old man's mouth. Reputation, profit. Those were all the old man cared about, and never cared if Minglan was living well. That was why he had to come today. He would free Minglan from the abyss of misery that was the Sheng family. Eighth brother doesn't seem to be here tonight. The old man looked around but did not see either of them. He has always thought of you as a brother. Why isn't he here on such an important day? And why isn't Minglan home when we're clearly talking about your wedding? Jing Yin thought about it for a moment before answering the old man. Because she said that she doesn't want to come back. She's more at home with the Su family. How can you talk to your father like that, Jing Yin? Fourth uncle retorted coldly. Those are Minglan's words. Fourth sister hasn't married into the Su family yet. But in my heart, she's already my wife. Jing Yin was neither servile nor overbearing. He no longer had the dejection of an assistant of the Sheng family, and now had a new identity. Fourth Uncle Sheng was left speechless. That was when Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi appeared before the crowd. Sorry we're late. Since you're back, let's talk about fourth sister and Jing Yun's wedding. The old man told Sheng Xiao. Of course, Mu Qiqi had no place in his eyes at all. I'm only concerned about how much dowry you've prepared for fourth sister. Sheng Xiao raised a brow. That was when sixth brother rushed back to the Sheng family's residence, only to find Jing Yun in the living room. Dropping his luggage, he went up and grabbed Jing Yun's collar, only to be thrown over his shoulder by Jing Yun's bodyguard, who landed heavily on the ground. Sixth brother rose to his feet in pain and pointed at Jing Yun's nose, barking, "You pathetic dog. How dare you sit here? Don't tell me you really want something to happen with fourth sister? I'm telling you that's impossible. This is the Sheng family." Shut up, sixth brother. The old man was furious. He had been avoiding an awkward situation all night, but he did not expect that sixth brother's return would catch him off guard. Grandfather, what kind of magic potion did eighth brother feed you? Sixth young master, he's innocent. I won't hold a grudge against him, Jing Yun said magnanimously then, but the tone of his voice was clearly sharp. That was when sixth brother laughed. Who do you think you are? Those who don't know are innocent? What a joke. Sixth brother, that's the third young master of the Su family. Don't you be rude. The old man couldn't hold back any longer and told sixth brother the truth. Jing Yun is no longer the Jing Yun you used to be. Don't embarrass me. At that, sixth brother pointed at Jing Yun and laughed. Him? Don't tell me he's impersonating you to get your approval? Look at him, grandfather. How does he look like a young master of a rich family? Sheng Xiao said nothing in response, and simply looked at Jing Yun. Chapter 356. Sixth brother apologized to Jing Yun. The old man instructed. Grandfather, I told you to apologize. You already know who he is, and yet you're still causing trouble. Don't the Su family know how to verify his identity? The Su family has already verified Jing Yun's identity, so stop causing trouble for the Sheng family. Sixth brother was promptly stunned at the old man's words, a look of disbelief on his face. He's actually the son of a rich family. He's really become a phoenix. Apologized to Jing Yun. Sixth brother was utterly indignant, but still walked up to Jing Yun and said, I was being rude just now. I hope you won't hold it against me, young Master Su. Jing Yun rose from his chair, picked up the teacup beside him, and poured tea over sixth brother's head right in front of the Sheng family. Now we're even. Jing Yun, don't be so condescending now that you're in power. Sixth brother was furious. If it wasn't for Minglan, I would have turned you into a dog and barked in front of me instead of just a cup of tea. Mu Qiqi looked at Jing Yun, and then at Sheng Xiao beside her. As the saying goes, one is marked by the company one keeps. Jing Yun was really the same as her, having inherited Sheng Xiao's disdain for everyone around him. Alright, it's a good day today. Jing Yun, you're here to propose marriage, so it's best not to strain your relationship with the Sheng family. After all, this is fourth sister's maiden home. However, it was not just Jing Yun. Even Sheng Minglan herself had never considered the Sheng family as a maternal family she could rely on. To put it bluntly, Jing Yun was simply informing the old man that he was marrying Sheng Minglan. If the Su family was happy, they would simply invite the old man over for a drink. If they were unhappy, they would simply settle the matter, leaving the Sheng family with no drama to play. After being humiliated, sixth brother turned to glare at Sheng Xiao resentfully. After all, he was convinced that Sheng Xiao must have given him the wrong information to lure him back, so that he could avenge Jing Yun right in front of him. After all, he had always called out to Jing Yun as a dog. The Su family's reunion banquet is in a few days. I'm planning to announce my relationship with Minglan there too. That's for the best. If the people of Jianshuan didn't know about Jing Yun's identity, he couldn't afford to lose face and spread rumors that his granddaughter was having an affair with a servant. When the time comes, I hope that all of you will come. That night, the old man learned how different Jing Yun was after becoming a member of the Su family. That was why he liked power so much. It was because only those with power had the right to speak. Just look at Jing Yun now. Wasn't he just a matter of opening his mouth if he wanted something? There was no need to be as desperate as before. Soon, Jing Yun left with his bodyguards. And that was when sixth brother pointed at Sheng Xiao. It's you. You deliberately spread the news to me and lured me here. You're the one who doesn't have a brain. Why are you blaming me? Sheng Xiao smiled in return. There's a saying that goes, every dog has its day. You used to look down on Jing Yun and his background, but from now on, you'll suffer as long as he tries to get back at you. You probably never thought that this day would come when you called him a dog. There was hatred in sixth brother's eyes. What he hated most was being treated like a puppet by Sheng Xiao, and manipulated as he pleased. Let's go home, Qi'er. Holding Mu Qiqi's hand, Sheng Xiao followed Jing Yin out of the Sheng residence. At this time, the old man looked at the backs of the two people as they left. He had a meaningful look on his face. The Gu family had agreed to it, and Miss Gu had given her consent. After Sheng Minglan's matter was settled, it would be Sheng Zhao's turn anyway. He was still thinking that he could bring Miss Gu to the Sheng family on his birthday, and when that time comes, Mu Qiqi would have to give way to Miss Gu. But Mu Qiqi wasn't the kind of person who would give way. She still wanted to hold the title of Sheng Zhao's woman for life. Don't bother with Sheng Xiao and that Mu Qiqi now. You won't be around for long. Old Sheng told sixth brother. Sixth brother wasn't smart, but he caught the meaning in the old man's words. Grandfather, you're saying. Don't be so flustered. It's only a matter of time. Sixth brother cleared the tea leaves off his head, and only then did he feel better. Sheng Xiao, Mu Qiqi. Let's see how long you can keep being arrogant. Soon, Jing Yun returned to the Su residence, where Sheng Minglan and Mama Su were waiting for him in the living room. Did everything go well? Reasonably speaking, your father and I should show up, but I don't want to give that old man so much face. Don't worry, everything went well. Jing Yun replied. Go upstairs with Minglan and get some rest. Mama Su urged them. Still, you have to be careful. Even if it's nothing new to get married with a child, you have to consider your father's face and restrain yourself before the wedding. Sheng Minglan blushed at those words. Jing Yun held Sheng Minglan's hand and led her to their bedroom. You don't have to go back as long as you don't have to interact with the Sheng family. Sheng Minglan reached out and hugged Jing Yun, nodding in his arms. You're holding back for me, aren't you? I'm not like young master in the first place. I can't do such a flashy vengeance. And as long as the Sheng family doesn't make things difficult for me, I won't target them since I owe them a debt. We'll start all over from now on. They hugged each other resolutely, but Jing Yun kept Mama Su's words in mind. He wanted to give Sheng Minglan a wedding like no other, and she wouldn't look good in a wedding dress if she was pregnant. I'll marry you soon. Mu Qiqi never imagined that there would be a day when Jing Yun would treat someone like that, pouring tea over sixth brother's head. Even now, when he recalled that scene, he would still feel extremely satisfied. Did I tell you to stay in bed after your bath so you could laugh? Sheng Xiao returned to the bedroom with a towel wrapped around his waist, promptly pinching Mu Qiqi's nose when he saw her smile. Mu Qiqi pulled off his towel and squeezed herself into his arms. I was laughing at Grandpa's compromising look. Sheng Xiao wrapped his arms around her, only to find that his little one wasn't wearing pajamas either. Hence, he lifted her chin and asked, What are you doing? Mu Qiqi's eyes sparkled with extreme infatuation as she looked at Sheng Xiao. What do you think? I want you to tell me. Chapter 357. Old Sheng was wary of the Su family's background, which was why he agreed to Jing Yun and Sheng Minglan's marriage. Still, he did not specifically bother Sheng Xiao or Mu Qiqi, which left Sheng Xiao puzzled. With the old man's volatile temper, the first person he would deal with after Sheng Minglan's matter would be Sheng Zhao's Qi'er. Even so, the old man had not made a move until now, which was rather unusual. Sheng Xiao had Mama Sheng pay special attention to the old man's movements, but aside from the few times he left the house without letting his family know, there was really nothing out of the ordinary. His birthday was in March, and Sheng Xiao would definitely be on his guard. Of course, No one knew that the great crown prince of Huang Yao was already preparing to shift his focus to do something great with his father-in-law. Be that as long as the old man did not go overboard, he would not tell anyone about it. But if the old man really did something else to Muchichi, there was nothing he could do. Meanwhile, the Su couple had asked Su Yihong to arrange an appropriate position for Jing Yun and Su Holdings. Su Yihong agreed to help his younger brother as well, and let Jing Yun know what aspects Su Holdings was involved in, as soon as possible. That was a breakthrough point for Su Yihong against Jing Yun. Since your identity is still unknown, I can't put you in a position that's too obvious. I could only have you work at the grassroots level and get a general idea of Su Holdings. You've thought it through, brother, Jing Yun said to Su Yihong discreetly. At the end of the day, Su Yihong was just using this method to provoke Jing Yun. The young master of the Su family was actually being assigned to the most basic of positions. It would be a humiliation for anyone, and he wanted Jing Yun to complain to the Su couple. That way, he could easily incite conflict between Jing Yun and his parents. But he was wrong. First, Jing Yun knew that he was the mastermind behind his abandonment, which was why he knew that the old man would deliberately set a trap for him. Second, Jing Yun was not an impetuous person. Moreover, he believed that he should be in contact with the lowest levels of Su Holdings. Everything should be learned from the basics, which was why he did not find it humiliating. After all, the people of Jianchuan recognized his ability and knew that he was not a good-for-nothing. Therefore, Su Yihong's move was, in truth, nothing more than shooting himself in the foot in the end. Even so, he had to hurry up and investigate the connection between Su Yihong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. At this time, Lin Mu had just returned to school and was about to face the holidays again. However, he did not want to go back to the Lin family. That was why he called Lu Qianqian on the first night of the holidays. I'm on vacation, little pepper. You have no sympathy at all. You know I ran away from home, and yet you leave me to fend for myself. What else? Lu Qianqian changed her clothes while talking to Lin Muan on the phone. I don't believe that you really have nowhere to go. I used to have a lot of friends, but they are all fair-weather friends. I'm afraid they won't agree to stay with me now, Lin Muan replied. Who told you to lose power? Lu Qianqian wanted to bite him through the phone. You have a month's holiday, right? And are you really not going back to the Lin family for the new year? I don't want to. Lin Muan answered Lu Qianqian very firmly. If I go back to the Lin family, Grandpa will come up with all kinds of traps and tricks to stop me from going back to the police academy. I don't want to take the risk anymore. If that's the case, I'll reluctantly accept you. Lu Qianqian pretended to sigh. You can be my bodyguard for this month. I'm lacking a sparring partner and a punching bag anyway. Then where should I stay? Your little boudoir? The storeroom suits you quite well. What do you think? Lu Qianqian drove Lin Mu to the police academy gates, and they left together. Meanwhile, Grandpa Lin's hands trembled uncontrollably as he watched his grandson being taken away by Lu Qianqian. Those two are still in contact after all. Since that animal wants to suffer, I'll fulfill his wish. Lin Mu kept feeling a cold breeze blowing at him from behind, and wondered if he was being overly suspicious. To tell the truth, I just need a simple place to stay. It's about the same as the police academy. I'll gladly endure it. Tisk Tsk, a young master of the Lin family, is actually freeloading off a woman like me. Didn't I say that I'll be your bodyguard? Lin Mu's training these days had yielded great results. When I graduate from the police academy, you'll be the biggest contributor. Lu Qianqian smiled mockingly at Lin Muan. Then I'll have to trouble you, young Master Lin. In fact, Lu Qianqian had prepared a small apartment for Lin Muan. It was a very simple apartment. The two walked around the small apartment, and then sat in the living room to drink, just like the last time at the hotel. As expected, you're my best friend. Lu Qianqian looked at Lin Muan. He had become sturdier, and his figure had become better. He looked much more manly now. Then how are you going to introduce me to a girlfriend you like in the future? Lu Qianqian asked Lin Muan, holding a bottle of wine. Lin Mu put his arm around Lu Qianqian's neck and said half drunk, I'll break up with anyone who doesn't accept you as my best friend. Lu Qianqian's heart skipped a beat at that. Not many women would accept their boyfriend to have a female confidant. So what? I like it. Lin Muan's alcohol tolerance was actually very good, but he was outclassed by Lu Qianqian, who had cultivated herself. So when Lin Muan collapsed on the floor, Lu Qianqian was still very sober. Watching Lin Muan's sleeping face, Lu Qianqian leaned over the table and whispered, "Me too. If anyone dares to say anything about your existence, I'll tell them to get lost." With that, she picked up a blanket from the bed and put it over Lin Muan. "Good night, future Officer Lin. Little Pepper." Lin Muan smiled in his sleep. "I'll protect you for the rest of my life. I'll protect my best friend." Idiot. Lu Qianqian scolded him with a smile and returned home late at night, because she didn't want to be caught and humiliated by old Master Lin once more. When she got home, Mama Lu smelled alcohol on her and advised her, "Qianqian, don't give up on yourself because of what happened in the past." "What are you thinking, Mom?" "I'm drinking with Lin Muan," Lu Qianqian quickly explained. "He's left the Lin family and doesn't even have a place to stay. I can't just stand by as he and I are friends, and I've taken him in as my bodyguard. Really just friends." Mama Lu confirmed with Lu Qianqian. Chapter 358. Old Sheng wanted Mu Qiqi to give up her position to Miss Gu, but he had to mend his relationship with Mu Qiqi and eighth brother before that, or he wouldn't have the chance to get close to Mu Qiqi at all. After all, he knew very well that the harder he treated eighth brother, the more Xing Xiao would retaliate. Of course, he couldn't be friendly to them for no reason. Given how smart eighth brother was, wouldn't that be telling him that he had something to gain from it? He had to set it up meticulously to avoid Sheng Xiao's suspicion. Mending their relationship could be done at the same time as contacting Miss Gu. Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao had transferred second brother back from abroad to groom the person in charge of Huang Yao. His excuse was that Jing Yun had returned to the Su family, and he needed someone capable to share the burden. Second brother had always been convinced of Sheng Xiao's ability, and had been diligent and never slacking off over the years. Since Sheng Xiao had summoned him this time, he naturally had to find someone abroad to handle the handover. And in Sheng Xiao's mind, second brother had more than enough talent, but he wasn't ruthless enough. Still, that wasn't a problem. At the very least, he was 100 times better than a good-for-nothing like sixth brother. Old Sheng didn't notice anything amiss with Sheng Xiao's excuse. He was naturally happy that another grandson was coming home, but he would never know that Sheng Xiao was smarter than he imagined, and more meticulous as well. Wouldn't the few times he went out without telling the Sheng family that he was meeting people attract suspicion? The old man simply believed that he was in control of the situation. In the evening, Mu Qiqi had dinner with Sheng Xiao, and the two of them sat in the study, each busy with their own matters. Watching Mu Qiqi's back as she wrote her report, Sheng Xiao suddenly smiled and reached out to pull her into his arms. "I'm going to the airport tomorrow to meet second brother of the Sheng family." Mu Qiqi could tell from Sheng Xiao's expression that second brother wasn't a bad person, since he was going to the airport. "Jing Yan's gone. Did you ask him to come back and help you?" Sheng Xiao hummed softly in acknowledgement. He had not revealed anything to Mu Qiqi until now. Mu Qiqi studied Sheng Xiao carefully and smiled slyly. "Are you hiding something from me?" When Sheng Xiao heard that, he suddenly became playful. "How did you know that? Who can tell what you're thinking?" Mu Qiqi snorted. "I just have this intuition. If you can't see anything, go take a shower." Sheng Xiao patted her head. "I'll take you to see your aunt tomorrow." "All right." Sheng Xiao's smile deepened as he watched Mu Qiqi get up. He wanted to protect the little one's ever-happy smile the most. He did not want her to change her quirky personality just because she had to face the Sheng family. She had promised Shen Jianchuan that she would make Mu Qiqi happy in the Sheng family. But now he was afraid that this wish could not be realized. The strength he used on the old man could totally be used to rebuild an empire. Since that was the case, why fight that tough battle again? After Mu Qiqi went upstairs, Sheng Xiao put down the documents in his hand and called his father-in-law. I've read the resumes of these people. That Su Che meets my requirements. You're quite picky. Su Che was a retired Special Forces soldier. Shen Jianchuan smiled. Still, being your assistant doesn't require extraordinary abilities. All right, I'll arrange for you to meet him later. But aren't you going to tell Mu Qiqi? She would know when the time is right. Since it is a military enterprise, it is not like Huang Yao, which needs to understand management and diamonds. He chose Su Che because Su Che knows a lot of weapons, which ordinary assistants can't catch up to. Moreover, if there is an emergency, Su Che can protect himself and Chi-er. Good boy. Good. He'll report to you in 2 days. As a matter of fact, the person Sheng Xiao should be communicating with the most was his mother. However, he knew that Mama Sheng would definitely be suspicious of his arrangements, which was why he did not have to tell her. The next day, the couple went to the airport to pick up Sheng Xiao. When Mu Qiqi saw second brother, she immediately understood why Sheng Xiao would think of him as an elder brother. Since they were cousins, they certainly shared some similarities. On the other hand, this brother of his had clear eyes and was frank with others, which suited Sheng Xiao's taste at first glance. You must be the youngest sister-in-law, Mu Qiqi? Second brother extended a hand to Mu Qiqi. Your name really rings like thunder. Mu Qiqi shook his hand and smiled. You're flattering me. I'm really sorry that I didn't even come when you got engaged. Still, so many things have happened at home while I was abroad. It feels like a lifetime has passed, especially Jing Yun's matter. You're probably not used to it without him, are you? What do you think? Sheng Xiao lifted a brow at second brother. Then I'll come back and take over Jing Yun's job as your assistant. No, I have other arrangements for my assistant. You're more suited for another position, Sheng Xiao said mysteriously. Second brother appeared puzzled. Although he had always been impressed by eighth brother's intelligence, he was afraid that he could not have the rapport with Sheng Xiao like Jing Yun did with someone smart. Both brothers were dressed in black tailored suits and had tall and slender figures. Still, Sheng Xiao exuded a dangerous aura from inside out. The old man was very happy as well, and prepared a sumptuous dinner to welcome his grandson back home. That night, the old man ignored Mu Qiqi's existence and focused on enjoying family time with his grandson. Of course, the fact that he did not bother Mu Qiqi was already the greatest gift to her. But Mu Qiqi did not know that it was the beginning of the old man's change in attitude towards her. After dinner, Mama Sheng winked at Sheng Xiao, and the two of them went to the Sheng family's golf course. Eighth brother, you called your second brother back, and want to recommend him to be the vice president. Do you have other plans? No one knows a son better than a mother. Sheng Xiao smiled at Mama Sheng. Mom, did you know that the old man had been meeting some mysterious people behind the Sheng family's back recently? What does he mean? You'll have to ask him about that. Sheng Xiao answered meaningfully. I have to leave a path of retreat for you and Chi-er. Don't say anything in the Sheng family. Chi-er doesn't know about it either. You're keeping it from Xiaoqi. Chapter 359. Then what do you need me to do? Sheng Xiao turned to look at his mother. You don't have to do anything. Just be like before. But Mom, you have to make a choice. Stay with the Sheng family or leave. Mama Sheng took a deep breath and nodded. I'll think about it. Mu Qiqi could not help frowning when she saw them return from the golf course. Are you whispering to Mom? What? Are you jealous? Sheng Xiao asked in return. Is there anything I can't know? Although Mu Qiqi knew that Sheng Xiao had many secrets in his heart, it was the first time he avoided her like that. The little one is getting harder to manage, she's getting more scheming too. I'll tell you in the future, but I have to keep it a secret for now, Sheng Xiao said, hugging her and bidding farewell to the rest of the Sheng family, before leaving with Mu Qiqi. Since Sheng Xiao had explained it, Mu Qiqi did not have to mind. All she wanted was an attitude from him. On the other hand, the old man finally had a good impression of Sheng Xiao, because he was willing to help his brother. That was because he never imagined that Sheng Xiao would have the idea of independence, and believed that the crown prince would take over Huang Yao no matter what. But he simply did not know that Huang Yao held no weight in Sheng Xiao's heart. 2 days later, the young man named Su Che reported to Jingting. Mu Qiqi asked Sheng Xiao in confusion when she saw how young and strong he was. Don't I have a bodyguard? This is my new assistant, Sheng Xiao told Mu Qiqi. Su Che. Chief Sheng, young madam. Su Che bowed to them like a soldier. How old is this kid? You've been hired as an assistant. Mu Qiqi could not be blamed for being puzzled. Su Che was born with a baby face and was very popular in the army because of his fair and tender face. Su Che, tell your young madam how old you are. Sheng Xiao could not help sneering. I'm 23. Su Che quickly answered. Damn, I thought you were only 18. Without realizing it, Mu Qiqi gave Su Che a thumbs up. You guys talk. I'm going upstairs to freshen up. Even then, Mu Qiqi did not find it strange. After all, Jing Yin often came to Jingting, but she did not know that the difference between Su Che and Jing Yin was that Su Che would never appear in Huangyao, because Su Che was on Sheng Xiao and Shen Jinchuan's side. Moreover, he would only help Sheng Xiao with matters on that side. Su Che, although you're my assistant, Xiaoqi, comes first in everything. As long as it involves her, you have to put her first. Secondly, you don't have to answer Xiaoqi's questions now. I will tell her in the future. I understand, Chief Sheng. Sheng Xiao trusted a soldier's strict style. After all, he had learned about Su Che's performance in the army. Since that's the case, you should be more careful in the future. In public, try to pretend that you don't know me. This was naturally a piece of cake for a soldier. Sheng Xiao was very satisfied with Su Che. After all, he was someone his father-in-law had selected. Of course, he was better than those good-for-nothings outside. Meanwhile, at the Su residence, Su Yihong had assigned Jing Yin to the Su family's purchasing department. According to him, he wanted Jing Yin to quickly familiarize himself with what the Su family did for a living and how they got their stuff. He wouldn't let Jing Yin go to the sales department or the Su family's R&D department, leaving Jing Yin hanging in suspense. Moreover, the people in the purchasing department were not aware of Jing Yin's identity and were very curious about this employee who had been dropped in out of nowhere. Seeing that Su Yihong had arranged for Jing Yin, Mr. and Mrs. Su asked him while Jing Yin was not home, "What are you thinking?" "Mom, I want third brother to try out every department. That way, you would be able to see if he's capable, and it would be the fastest way for him to familiarize himself with Su Holdings. There are many ways to familiarize himself with Su Holdings, and we have enough specialists. Moreover, he had been with the Crown Prince of Huangyao for so long. Why are you still doubting his ability?" "Mom, trust me. I can take care of my brother." Mama Su was about to say something else, but Papa Su stopped her. "Yihong is right. Let Feng try." The truth was that he did not want Su Yihong to think that he had neglected his eldest son's feelings after finding Jing Yin. And since Su Yihong had chosen to do so, he was naturally confident that his parents would agree. As for whether Jing Yin would feel wronged, it was none of his business. Jing Yin knew what Su Yihong was thinking. Moreover, Su Yihong had clearly instructed the people in the purchasing department to give him a hard time. Was he trying to test his patience? Did he not know how easy it was for the purchasing department to make mistakes? Sheng Minglan, on the other hand, was working at her own company as usual. Still, Jing Yin did not tell her about it, or she would never let it go. Still, what kind of people had he not seen after working for Sheng Xiao for so many years? That was why he installed an invisible camera on his computer on the second day he joined the purchasing department. Naturally, he wanted to know who was human and who was a ghost. Still, the purchasing department was unaware that Su Yihong had personally given the order to suppress Jing Yin. They simply listened to the orders from above, and Jing Yin would naturally not blame Su Yihong when the time came. Hence, someone came to test the clarity of the camera just after it was installed. Seizing the opportunity when Jing Yin was not around, he splashed a cup of water on the purchasing list his supervisor had just given him. It was a manuscript, and Jing Yin was supposed to check it against the list on the computer. But now, the manuscript was soaked in water. Jing Yin laughed coldly when he saw it from his phone in the pantry, before returning to his post. At the moment, his colleagues looked as if they did not know what was going on. Even so, Jing Yun was not used to their habit, and promptly put the soaked manuscript in front of the culprit. I believe you have a responsibility. Help me restore the information on the manuscript. The man's face dropped in shock. I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone else looked as if they were watching a good show. You don't have to know what I'm talking about. But I remember the look on your face when you knocked over my cup. Jing Yun replied calmly. The man was stunned and blushed in embarrassment. Don't slander me. I never slander anyone, but I'm not one to hold back. Restore my information, or I won't be the only one to admire your face. The man promptly lowered his head at that, avoiding the question. Got it. Everyone looked at Jing Yun's face. Was he a pushover? Such a straightforward counterattack. Chapter 360. As a matter of fact, Jing Yun had a habit of making backups, since he would always take photos of things like manuscripts. After working for Sheng Xiao for so long, would he be interested in such petty tricks? It was no different from scratching an itch, and not stirring any desire to win. Still, he did not tell that person that he had the information, because he wanted that person to know the consequences of provoking him. Everyone in the office fell silent at that. That was clearly a tough nut to crack, and yet someone was so reckless as to run into it. Still, there was more to come. Once Jing Yun's identity was revealed, everyone in the office would probably scram out of fear of retribution. Jing Yun was still Jing Yun. No matter how smart Su Yihong was, he would have to admit defeat against someone trained by Sheng Xiao. Naturally, Jing Yun had his men investigate the matter between Su Yihong and the eldest uncle of the Su family. He believed that his ability was not in the purchasing department anyway. That very night, Jing Yun received a call. That was why he brought Sheng Minglan to Jingting. Why are you coming to me now that you're the third young master of the Su family? Sheng Xiao frowned in displeasure. Knowing that he was not really disgusted, Sheng Minglan retorted. Am I not your fourth sister even if Jing Yun isn't your assistant? What's new? I've sent people to investigate around the eldest uncle of the Su family, and found out about an old incident. Jing Yun told Sheng Xiao. He still saw Sheng Xiao as his young master, and the way they spoke was the same as before. Speak. Sheng Xiao hugged Mu Qiqi and leaned lazily on the sofa. Big Uncle once had two lovers outside. One of them was discovered by Big Aunt, and she cried and made a scene. After that she died. As for the other one, Big Uncle hid it very well. It is said that the two of them even gave birth to a son. What's the connection? The connection is that the child was born in the same hospital as eldest brothers, and the child was born before eldest brother by a few days. No one in the Su family knows about it. What about the child? Sheng Xiao had already figured out the crux of the matter. He died when he was 2. An eldest uncle gave the woman a sum of money. They were even after that, and the woman left the country. How could you find out about such a thing? Sheng Xiao pointed at Jing Yun. It sounded like he was mocking him, but his actual words were well done. It took some effort, Jing Yun admitted. What else is there to say? Go and do a DNA test with your brother and your parents. In fact, Jing Yun had already guessed that Su Yihong had a motive for what happened all those years ago. But even so, we didn't find any evidence that he abandoned me. Let's set up a trap. Sheng Xiao narrowed his eyes and instructed Jing Yun just like before. Your brother isn't letting you have it easy, is he? It's all right. Jing Yun did not admit it in front of Sheng Minglan. Of course, Sheng Xiao did not continue. Since things are settled, shouldn't you leave? The little thing and I still need to rest. Mu Qiqi blushed. Xiao, what are you talking about? Sheng Minglan covered her mouth and chuckled. I didn't know you were so impatient. Well, we're going back. Jing Yun held Sheng Minglan's hand as they left Jingting. He was even more certain of his hunch after hearing Sheng Xiao's answer. His father and his eldest uncle had fought over the management rights, and the eldest uncle had every reason to switch the child. Even if his father won and gave the rights to Su Yihong, the outcome would be the same. It would still be given to the eldest uncle. Moreover, no one knew that the mistress had a child at the time, and his real brother had died. That was the best cover for Su Yihong. I didn't expect the Su family to have so many traps. Sheng Minglan sighed on the way back. Still, it's Su Yihong's bad luck to run into you and eighth brother. Anyone else would have fallen into Su Yihong's trap over and over again. Young master's intellect is peerless. Brains are useful, but not everyone can control them. Who else aside from Mu Qiqi could stand eighth brother? Every carrot has its own pit, and every pot lid has its head. A tortoise goes with. Sheng Minglan did not really say the word tortoise, but she chuckled. Since we're going to do a DNA test, leave it to me. I'm not restricted at home since you're all at work. Jingyan shook his head. No. Why? His room would definitely be guarded. Jingyan said. How could someone like Su Yihong not know that there were surveillance cameras in his office, if even he knew about it? I've always wondered why he didn't marry before, but I understand now. He would have a higher chance of being exposed if he had married early, and there would be no way to deal with his wife and children. That's why he might as well not marry and find a stable partner, and only marry and have children when he has real power. That would be perfect. What do you plan to do, then? There would be times when he would be careless if they lived together. That would depend on observation. All right then. Sheng Minglan gave up on the idea of going to Su Yihong's room. After all, Su Yihong would definitely be prepared when Mama Su went to get the fake's DNA. Meanwhile, over at Jingting, Mu Qiqi was still nestled in Sheng Zhao's arms after Jing Yun, and Sheng Minglan left sighing. I'm relieved that Jing Yun is no different from before. What do you think he would become? Snobbish, greedy. Mu Qiqi pointed with her fingers as an example. You have many friends, but not many of them are brothers. I don't want you to lose a brother. You're thinking too much. Sheng Xiao couldn't help chuckling. Jing Yun would never change. He would never change. But that makes things even more interesting, don't you think? Sheng Xiao promptly picked Mu Qiqi up from the sofa at that. Was that the only thing that had become interesting? It had taken him quite a bit of effort to find out who the old man had met during his mysterious trips. The Gu family. After meeting the Gu family, what happened next? Was he already looking for a replacement for Qi? No wonder the old man had not given Qi a hard time recently. It turned out that he had other plans. Of course, if the old man really dared to do that, he could not be blamed. After all, this was the world of the young. How could the old man's old ways work? When Jing Yun gets the evidence and exposes Su Yihong, I want to join in the fun. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.